Pirate's Most Powerful Villain, Chapter 801-820. Chapter 0801-Fairy Mode. He was hit into the bottom of the lake with a single blow, and Jirai also held his breath, not intending to get out of the water at all. He was at the bottom of the lake, and he didn't know why he was attacked for a while. Puff puff. 2 bubbles spewed out of his mouth, and Zilai also formed a seal with his hands, and secretly said in his heart, "Shadow clone technique." I saw a clone appearing in the water on the side of the body. It was exactly the same as the main body. It was a physical clone. After it appeared, it rushed towards the water surface. "Who is this person? Know me," and launched an attack immediately. "Do you have any grudge against me?" Jiraiya's body was still at the bottom of the lake, wondering if he had provoked any enemies recently. At the same time, Juya was not in a hurry, he walked on the water. Suddenly, under the water, a shuriken flew out. He broke the lake and hit Juya's neck. However, the attack of this raid was directly blocked when it touched the golden demon fox robe. Small tricks are not necessary, quickly take out the immortal mode and let me see Juya. Spiral pills. As if responding to his words, a figure suddenly appeared under the lake behind Juya. Jiraiya 533 feet's right hand slammed down, and a high-speed rotating energy bomb was born in the palm of his hand. Using the shuriken to attract my attention, and attacking from behind, you are very cautious. Juya grinned Isho, and instead of retreating, he turned to meet him. The movements of the two sides are almost the same, the right hand is like a claw, and the palm is holding a chakra ball. Spiral pills. Boom. X. The two collide, the same ninjutsu, although the attributes are different, but the energy intensity is roughly the same. However, the nine-tailed chakra was even more violent, and Jiraiya was only stalemate for a moment, and was directly smashed. With a puff, the shadow clone was directly blown up. This club will also have spiral pills. At the bottom of the lake, Jiraiya was also taken aback. Who is it? Before he had time to think about it, his hands quickly formed a seal, and the chakra in his body was quickly refined into oil. The next moment, he opened his mouth and spit it out. Fire escape, great flame bullet. Juyi raised his eyebrows, only to feel that the temperature of the water under his feet rose rapidly, and the fiery red light dyed the lake surface. Then, a big fireball rushed out and devoured him in an instant. Boom. J. Of the explosion shook the lake surface. For a while, the lake surface was full of whiteness. Water vapor, blocking sight. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Jiraiya quickly jumped out of the bottom of the lake and stood on the surface of the lake. He locked the center of the explosion in front of him, and when the steam and smoke dissipated, the golden figure still existed here unharmed. There's nothing at all. The layer of chakra covering this guy's body is protecting his body. Jiraiya has become more and more dignified, a strange opponent, and his purpose is unknown. The nine tails behind Juyi kept swaying, causing wind and waves to blow away the surrounding steam. The same fire escape ninjutsu has completely different powers in the hands of different people. As expected of Jiraiya, one of the three ninjas, he can penetrate my demon fox's clothes, just a little bit. Juyi grinned Isho, however, it's not too far off. Let's take out the immortal mode and fight me. From the beginning, I was surprised that although I thought it was unlikely, but your chakra attribute, 9 tails. Zilai also had a low tone. Of course, he knew the chakra of the 9 tails. Although there was a slight difference, it was obvious that it was the chakra of the 9 tails. However, the 9 tails were sealed in Naruto, so what happened to this guy? Moreover, this form looks more and more like a tailed beast mode. Who knows? If you want to know, try to please me, maybe I'll tell you. Hearing this, Jirai also let out a light breath, without words, but with a simple nod, and then slapped the surface of the lake with his palm. The art of psychic. I saw a flash of white fog, and 2 toads appeared one after another. Jiraiya, what are you calling us to do? Shenzuo Shanran, I don't have time to explain. hurry up and prepare to enter the fairy mode, the enemy is very difficult. Zilai also said quickly. Also, there are a few questions that I have to ask clearly. The two toads are both elders of Miaomu Mountain. The male toad is called Shenzuo, and the female toad is called Zima. The two are husband and wife. Hearing Jiraiya's words at this moment, the two toad immortals also noticed the existence of Juya, and upon seeing it, they were all shocked. Their perception of chakra is very keen, and Juya stands there. In their eyes, it is simply a human-shaped tailed beast. No, it's not the level of an ordinary tailed beast. The amount of chakra contained in the body is simply terrifying. If you compare the chakra of the General Jonin to 100 units, then the monster in front of you is at least tens of thousands. 100 times. What's the situation, Sean? Immortal Zima turned pale in shock, and hurriedly jumped to Jiraiya's shoulder. Immortal Fukusuo also jumped up and said quickly, "Little Jiraiya, are you sure this guy is a human? Not a tailed beast? It's true that chakra is 9 tails, it doesn't feel wrong, but I don't know who it is." Jiraiya took a deep breath and began to perceive and gather natural energy. This process is not too long. With the gathering of surrounding natural energy, Jiraiya's chakra gradually transformed into immortal chakra, and brown lines appeared on the corners of his eyes. Ready. Seeing this, Juya said unhurriedly, "The energy of chakra has indeed increased several times. You really have a face full of leisure, just wait for me to turn on the fairy mode." Zilai also put his hands together and stared at Juya. Sometimes, being too confident can lead to death. I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, but I'll talk about it after the fight is over. As soon as the voice fell, he suddenly rushed out. As soon as his feet moved, a huge wave broke out on the lake, and Zilai was almost close to the water. With one step, he crossed a distance of tens of meters and went straight to Juya. Frog team hands. He drank lowly in his mouth, and slapped it with his palm. Because the immortal mode was turned on, his palm was slightly transformed into a frog hand. In the face of this blow, Juya did not dodge at all, and the opponent still hit him in the chest. Boom! With a muffled sound, Juya was instantly knocked over a dozen meters away, all the way out of the lake. In the immortal mode, a random blow is a strange force, and its own muscle strength is only normal. The main destructive power comes from the immortal chakra that is hit when attacking. Juya calmly analyzed that after taking the blow completely, the clothes of the demon fox were still intact. He stood on the shore, looked at Jiraiya, and immediately chuckled. It's almost a bit of a reluctance. Saying that, he raised his right hand high and his eyes were calm. Tailed beast jade. The clustered chakras form a huge energy list on the palm. The color is chaotic and dark. No, impossible. Jiraiya's eyes widened, full of disbelief. You really are Ren Zuli. Chapter 0802-Run Away from the Desert. Tail Beast Jade, this kind of ninjutsu is not a secret to him. It is human pillar power, and it is an S-level ninjutsu that can only be used by perfect human pillar power. A mountain, erasing a village. Damn it, who the hell are you? How could you be the nine-tailed man Zuli? Jiraiya, including the two toad immortals on his shoulders, felt that something was wrong, and it was common sense that the nine-tailed man's strength was in Konoha. Juya tilde is not a man Zuli. With a low laugh, Juya showed no mercy, and threw the tailed beast jade held high in his hand. I don't know the defense power of the immortal mode, how is it? The moment he finished the throw, he quickly retreated and began to avoid the central area of the explosion. The same is true for Jirai, there is no idea of confrontation at all, and he resolutely chooses to dodge. I saw a huge tailed beast jade, flying to the center of the lake, and then suddenly erupted. Boom boom boom. The deafening loud noise spread for dozens of miles around. The spread of its explosion was at the speed of sound, so how could Jirai be avoided? Even if it avoided the center, it would still be affected. The whole person is like a canoe in the wind and waves, being beaten and rolled into the explosion range. Power up a notch. Juya avoided far away, but even he couldn't avoid it completely. Fortunately, the clothes of the demon fox could resist it. The tail beast jade at 3 stars was less than half of the power of the tail beast cannon, and now it is 4 stars. Level, the power not only exceeds the original tail beast cannon, but also slightly exceeds. Quote. This time, he has no intention of showing mercy. A dazzling golden sun rose above the lake, which evaporated all the lake water in an instant, and even the entire lake was expanded. Phew. After a long time, when the smoke and dust dissipated, the original lake water had disappeared, and in its place was a huge deep pit that ran for hundreds of meters. And on the edge of the pothole, Jiraiya was also lying there. Despite his immortal mode, he still suffered unimaginable injuries and broke several ribs. Don't play dead. Immortal mode is more than that. Juyi spoke calmly. Sure enough, at the moment when his words fell, Jiraiya, who was lying in the pothole, suddenly puffed and disappeared into a cloud of white smoke. The next moment, on the left-hand side of Juya, a figure jumped out from the ground, and it was Jiraiya. Juya glanced at him and found that he was badly injured and quite embarrassed. When you realize that you can't escape, do you escape into the ground? This is a very wise judgment. Shanfa Super Jade Spiral Pill. Jiraiya also looked solemn. In the immortal mode, even if he escaped into the ground, he was also affected. At this moment, he made a sneak attack and immediately used the immortal technique to counterattack. I saw the immortal chakra gathered in my hand, forming a chakra ball comparable to the previous tailed beast Jade, and pressed it hard against Juya. Seeing this, Juya didn't rush, and Juwei's chakra quickly gathered on his right hand, and then blocked it suddenly. Boom! The two fought against each other, but they were evenly matched. The defensive ability of the demon fox's clothes is indeed excellent, and even Jiraiya's immortal art is difficult to break through in an instant. What's more, Juya didn't have time to use ninjutsu for his instant reaction, he just gathered chakra together to increase his defense. And also blocked Jiraiya's sneak attack Q. It's the Nine Tails itself. What kind of human Zuli is this? Jiraiya's heart sank more and more. The person in front of him has a chakra amount comparable to a tailed beast. If he consumes it, he will definitely be finished. Even if he has a fairy mode, he will definitely be exhausted before the other party. While thinking about it, the super large jade spiral pill has shrunk rapidly. At this moment, the demon fox's clothes outside Juya suddenly stretched out the hand of chakra, turned it into a fist, and slammed a fist shadow. Nine Tails fight. Bang 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 bang. At such a close distance, they were almost face to face, and Jiraiya only had time to dodge the first punch, and then he was overwhelmed by the shadow of the fist. The whole person was beaten into a human shape in midair, and in a series of sounds, he was smashed into the air with a single blow while spitting out a few mouthfuls of blood. Little Jiraiya, Immortal Zima shouted worriedly. Jiraiya rolled 3 or 2 laps in a row, and then half-squatted to stabilize his body. He checked the blood donation at the corner of his mouth, and suppressed the injury again. It can actually do such heavy damage to me in fairy mode. That guy's chakra is very dangerous, and his attributes are very dangerous. Even immortal chakra can't be completely defended. No matter how you look at it, the control and adaptability of this nine-tailed human pillar force to nine-tailed chakra is not at the level of human pillar force. It should be said that it is almost the same as facing the nine tails. What happened to Konoha? Why are there other nine-tailed people Zuli? What happened to Uzumaki Naruto? 9 flowers. Jiraiya also thought of Konoha village, and felt that something major happened in Konoha when he didn't know it. Thinking of this, Jiraiya also felt that it would be difficult for him to take down the opponent alone, so he immediately thought of retreating. Immortal Shenzuo used that trick and was about to withdraw. I have to go back to Konoha to see. Zilai also whispered. Hearing this, the two-toed immortals looked at each other and immediately started working together. Shanfa Toda's singing. The harsh frog croaking sounded, and Juyi felt a shock all over his body, and he couldn't move for a moment. Is it an auditory illusion? interfering with the opponent's movement by disturbing the nerves. Knowing the principle, it is still a good defense. With a thought, the nine tails directly cut off his auditory system, and at the same time, the chakra circulated in the body to break the interference, and then everything returned to normal. However, when the hallucination disappeared, Jiraiya, who was beaten by him, ran away. Tisk, what a weak chicken, just ran away, the name of Sanin is crying. Juya thought a little unhappily, he still has a few ninjutsu yet to test. This guy Zillai also knew that he was no match, so he chose to run away. To be honest, it's not really impossible to fight, and even if you think about it, you also feel that there is no way to solve it quickly. No matter where Juya is sacred, as long as you go to Konoha to see what it is, you can probably get some numbers. Forget it, I'll play with him later. Compared with this, there is a more suitable Shao organization. There are many shadows here. Juya dissipated the clothes of the demon fox, then shook his head, and continued to go in the direction of the land of rain. At the same time, in the land of rain, in a virgin forest, a man with a big knife, a hat, and a black robe with red clouds on his back opened his mouth to the other person jokingly. Itachi, there is a piece of information circulating in the underground bank that Konoha's S-rank rebellion attacked Konoha village, the country of fire, the night before, and stole the Book of Seals. Big Sword Man chuckled twice. I really don't know Itachi, who has been acting with me all the time. How did you do such a thing? The man named Itachi was sitting on a boulder, unmoved at all. The magic of the lantern body. Then, he closed his eyes. Not at all interested. The Big Sword Man shook his head and sat down, also using the same ninjutsu. Well, should Pain be interested, the magic of the phantom body. Chapter 0803-Rain Tiger Freedom Technique. There is water at the entrance, and in the depths of the water-filled cave, there is a golem. The golem stretches out its hands, and above each stone finger, stands an illusory figure. There are 10 such illusory figures in total, the same as the number of golem fingers. And these illusions are the magic of the phantom body. The caster converts the chakras into thought waves, which are then received by someone as the commander tower, and then amplify the thought waves, and finally the illusion will appear in a specific place. To be honest, this ninjutsu is a secret technique, and it is relatively difficult to practice, and as a commander, you need to have Rinnegan's bloodline limit. At this moment, the person who gathers on the 10 fingers of the golem and is the leader has a pair of Rinnegans. It may not be right to say that it is a person. It is more accurate to describe it with a corpse. Of course, what is standing here now is just an illusion, not a real body, as is the case with everyone. This is an impromptu gathering organized by Akatsuki. Everyone is here. There is a sudden meeting. What's the matter? Take me out of making money, Pain. If it's not important, say it quickly. If it's important, say it quickly. As a result, you said a lot of nonsense, and you were wasting your time, Jiaodu. What did you say? Do you want to die once? Enough. The leader said indifferently. There is one thing to call you this time, because it is unexpected, so there is an action in advance. His name is Pain, and he is the leader of Shao's organization, at least on the surface. It happened 2 days ago. The tailed beast sealed by Konoha suddenly broke the seal in the middle of the night. After the fight in Konoha, he fled and disappeared. What? Some people expressed surprise. Although I know that Konoha has already decayed, can such an exaggerated thing happen? That is a tailed beast, so can the tailed beast break the seal? I'm afraid someone moved his hands and feet behind him, otherwise the seal would not be able to be broken casually. The man named Engel's voice was hoarse. That's right. Pain nodded affirmatively and said, Konoha is blocking the news, but I still got some information. It's not clear who did it, even Konoha himself. However, the 9 tails broke the seal and obtained freedom is true. The 5 major countries will know this news, and they will not let Konoha recapture the 9 tails and reseal it, so they will inevitably intervene. Quote. Are we going to Another phantom scratched his head. It always feels very troublesome. Ninetails are also the strongest among the tailed beasts. It's a problem if the 5 major countries can really capture them. Don't underestimate the big 5. Pain continued. This time to capture the 9 tails, who will you go? I want to make money, Jiaodu said decisively. The crowd fell silent for a while. At this moment, a dull voice suddenly sounded. I'll go. Itachi. Pain glanced at him. You and the ghost shark are in the same group. To be on the safe side, let's add one more person, Xiaonan. Yes, I see. Among the 10 people, the only woman spoke indifferently, listening to her voice quite young, assemble at this position. She reported a location and informed Uchiha Itachi and the 2. Then, let's disband. The mission is not allowed to fail. Even if the 9 tails are not captured, the people of the 5 major countries cannot get it. This is the bottom line, understand? Everyone thought about it. Pain's meaning is probably to let people make trouble. Anyway, if the 5 countries do not reseal the 9 tails, even if the task is completed. Of course, it would be best if the 9 tails could be captured. To be honest, the task is not easy. After all, in the face of the 5 major countries, even if every member of the organization is an S-rank rebel and has experienced hundreds of battles, it may not be possible. One more point. Just as everyone was about to lift the magic of the phantom body, Pain seemed to remember something, and said, if you find the mastermind behind the liberation of the 9 tails, remember to contact me. What does it mean? Someone moved in their hearts and wondered if Pain wanted to pull that person into the Xiao organization as well. Speaking of which, there is such a possibility. Dare to take action against Konoha, and also liberate the 9 tails. 9 times out of 10, he and Konoha have a grudge, but the number of Xiao's organization is full. Even if the other party agrees, it is estimated that he will be a reserve. Disband. The country of rain, it rains all the year round, so it is called the country of rain. This small country is located in the cracks between the country of fire, the country of earth, and the country of wind. If there is a war between the 3 countries, this place will be affected, and sometimes it will be regarded as a battlefield. But in recent years, the country of rain has changed its leader. The country adopts a closed policy and does not welcome outsiders at all, so the outside world's understanding of the country of rain has gradually decreased. At this moment, in the land of rain, the center of Yurin village. The top of a tall building, an orange-haired man with a rinnegan stepped out. The man was wearing a black robe with red clouds, and it was Pain who had given orders before. Xiaonan. Pain whispered. I saw pieces of paper flying all over the sky, quickly condensing into a female figure. Is greater than or equal to. Woman is 1.70 meters tall, also wearing a black trench coat embroidered with red clouds, long blue-purple hair, and a lavender paper flower on the right side of her head. I'm going. Wait, Pain said solemnly. Compared to 9 tails, the person who liberated 9 tails is more noteworthy. Your action this time is mainly to find this person. Huh. Since the 9 tails have escaped, it is not so easy for the 5 major countries to capture them back. In contrast, the person who liberates the 9 tails, or those people, is more important. I see, I'll pay attention. Xiaonan nodded, and then his body was like a piece of paper, turning into pieces of white paper the size of a slap, and gradually dispersed. When the other party left, Pain walked to the floor-to-ceiling window and looked at the entire Yurin village where it rained all the year round. 1.9 EH. Suddenly, he frowned without a trace. An unfamiliar aura has entered Ninja Village. Without hesitation, he quickly formed the seal and said inwardly, the art of rain tiger freedom. In an instant, his own chakra was injected into the rain, and Pain's perception increased thousands of times. Every drop of rain that falls from the sky is closely related to Pain. In front of this powerful detection ninjutsu, all existences exposed to rain will be easily detected. At the same time, on a street somewhere in Yurin village, Juya looked up at the sky. Above the dark sky, clouds filled with chakra shrouded, as if the rain could never end, constantly slapping the earth. Rain Tiger Freedom Technique. It's time to detect an intruder now. Find a place to wait for him. Chapter 0804 Pen 6 Roads. This village is very strange and completely different. The buildings are mainly made of steel, and many large and small steel pipes stand up inside and outside, forming a unique landscape. Standing on a high place overlooking the village, there is obviously an illusion of a future world. The buildings here are extremely tall, like spires, standing in the rainstorm, and they are also quite dense, with a bit of steampunk style. At this time, at the top of one of the high-rise buildings, Juyi stood on it, admiring the beautiful scenery in the rain with great interest. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps came from behind, and I saw 6 men in red cloud robes on a black background, appearing one after another. Juyi didn't look back, instead he tutted his tongue and praised, "Your urine village is really nice, it's a little fresh." "Who are you?" The 6 people came behind Juya and stood still 7 or 8 meters apart. These 6 were all male, each with a pale, dead face. "What's the purpose of invading Ninja Village?" In this regard, Juya did not answer, and said to himself, "The village is blocked all the year round and the situation of the whole village is monitored. I thought it would be a relatively high-pressure environment." "Answer the question, intruder, or it will annihilate you," said one of the 6 indifferently. He. Juyi let out a low laugh, and then he stepped down from the railing on the roof. Rinnegan's abilities are divided into 6 parts. Using a black rod to conduct chakra, Nagato, your use of these eyes is not very talented. Nagato. The moment they heard the word, there was a slight fluctuation in the state of the 6 people, but from the outside, they were still 6 dead faces. "Who are you? If you ask someone a question, just come here honestly and practically. Don't you know how to be polite? Do you need me to teach you?" "Hugh," Juyi said shamelessly. Although, he is also a phantom body, which is a kind of avatar. The 2 sides are 8 pounds and 8 tails, each other. Pain obviously wouldn't be easily led by the nose, and when he heard these words, the 6 people quickly surrounded him. "This guy knows too much." Pain thought to himself, what kind of power could this look be? I don't remember it. He didn't feel that he was exposed anywhere, it was obviously the information that this mysterious man didn't know where to get it. Thinking of this, he said indifferently, "It doesn't matter who you are, since the invasion knows the superfluous things, then just stay." Between the words, he stretched out his right palm and whispered in his mouth, "Universal pull." Boom! Juya suddenly felt a strong suction force coming. However, he was very familiar with Rinnegan and was prepared for it. I saw a flash of golden light, and the clothes of the demon fox appeared in an instant, resisting the opponent's ninjutsu. "Is it in such a hurry? I don't know how much breath you have left in your body now." Juya couldn't help sneering. "Your eyes were originally transplanted, and the burden on you is not ordinary. Every time you use it, your lifespan will decline once. Now your body should be emaciated and lingering on." Quote. Hearing this, Penvivi narrowed his eyes and immediately applied a larger chakra. In an instant, the gravitational force increased greatly. With Juyi's strength, he could not help being pulled by the universal pull, and slowly approached the opponent. "Really a reckless man who only knows brute force," Juyi said calmly, still calmly. "However, I agree with your approach. Human society is like this, from peace to war, and from war to war. Welcome to peace. War is the norm in human history, and it will not disappear for the foreseeable future, nor will it ever be." Huh. Pain frowned and suddenly withdrew the universal pull. "What do you want to say?" "Hey," Juya Isho continued, "everyone says, I hate war, war is the devil, performers, politicians, big stars, ordinary people. But in the end, war it's still a means to solve many problems. It's useless to talk about it. It's like if you want to know who I am and what I have, the most direct method is violence. You and the people you hate have absolutely nothing to do with me. Difference. Pain's eyes were cold and he looked straight at him. Is it for teaching? No, I'm not that leisurely and elegant, and I say that to tell you that I agree with some of your views. Juya grinned Isho and said, introduce yourself. I'm a member of Magic, you can call me Juya. Fantasy. Pain frowned, never heard of such an organization. However, the ninja world is so big, of course it is normal to have things he doesn't know. Juyi continued, people will never understand each other. Men and women, adults and children, the wise and the foolish, the superior, the ruler and the peasant, and the slave. Even more between countries. Of course, it's more about interest than understanding. What on earth are you trying to say? Pain said, although I haven't heard of your organization, your intelligence is indeed very strong. You don't need to be around the corner, and you don't need to talk to me about insignificant things, just explain your intentions directly. It's not something that doesn't matter. Juya glanced not far away. This is the basis of what I will say next. Our organization does not have the lofty ideals as yours, to create a world without war, this kind of unrealistic thing. I am here, yes, made a deal with you. What did you say? Sean, transaction, business. We hate fighting and killing. We can achieve our goals by means of transactions. Isn't that much easier? Juya smiled but not smiled. We have the means to increase the lifespan by 250, your true feelings is it bad? At most 3 or 5 years, it is almost time to meet the ancestors. However, don't worry, I will have a solution to this problem of missing life. With life, there is an ideal time to complete. Even, you don't have to stay in a dark room and control the pen 6 paths from a distance. Rinnegan, it is not used like this. Pain. No, Nagato fell into silence under the control behind Pain Ludao. At the same time, not far from the point of conversation between the two parties, at the top of another building, a guy with green grass like a cage drilled out from the ground. His face was half black and half white, extremely strange. The guy's perception is so sharp, he was discovered when he got close. Who could it be? That chakra very familiar. Just when Juya met Pain Ludao, fooled the other party, and prepared to let the other party do things for him, the news about the Nine Tails breaking the seal and breaking away from Konoha's control was also spreading rapidly. This dissemination is mainly the underground world, and the intelligence agencies of the major ninja villages. The Hidden Sand Village in the Country of Wind, the Hidden Cloud Village in the Country of Thunder, and the Hidden Rock Village in the Country of Earth. The head of the ninja village in these 3 countries, also known as Shadow, was the first to get relevant information. And at the first moment, he dispatched his strength and prepared to attack the Nine Tails. Suddenly, the originally peaceful world of ninjas surged. Chapter 0805-9 Tails Clone Technique. A thick book, which language can be spoken clearly. To be honest, in this world, there is a chain of flickering. Different from the explicit emotional expression of the contempt chain, the flicker chain is a little more secretive. Think carefully, this world will eventually be the big boss. Kagaya Otsutsuki created Black Jew. Black Jew fooled Uchiha Madara fooled Uchiha Obito. Uchiha Obito fooled Nagato. Nagato used Pain's identity, fooled all the members of the Shao organization. During the period, there were all kinds of big flickers, and it was not clear for a while. And in this complex and ever-changing relationship, what war and peace are just trivial matters. Peace, how peace? Did you achieve peace by means of war? No matter how nice it sounds, you still have to fight in the end. It would be better to say that Juya is very optimistic about infinite monthly reading, but unfortunately the side effects of this technique are too great. You mean transaction? At this moment, in Urin village, Pain asked again as if to confirm, how to trade. What do you take out, and what do I have to pay? I can restore your vitality, not to mention the peak, at least let you reach the level of a normal person. Juya said, as for the price you need to pay, it's very simple to plunder other countries, and from their hands, snatch enough ninjutsu scrolls, the meaning of a few thousand scrolls first. As long as there are enough scroll, I can make you immortal. Real. Pain was silent. He really didn't know the use of scrolls. He could make them on the spot if he wanted to. This is a pretense. The other party's purpose is to let him go to war with other countries. Pain felt that he had guessed correctly, that scrolls were not worth mentioning, they were just poor excuses. HMPH, boring. You're too disappointing for me to say this, I thought it was a high opinion cue. Pain said indifferently, it seems that there is no need for nonsense with you, let's do it. Hearing that, among the 6 paths, one of the men suddenly stepped forward. He bit his finger and slapped it with the palm of his hand. The art of psychic. Boom. White smoke filled the air, and 3 giant beasts appeared in an instant. The chameleon, rhinoceros, centipede, each psychic beast was extremely large, especially the centipede, which was directly attached to the tall building at the feet of everyone, rolled up the wall, and suddenly sprang from behind Juya and launched a sneak attack. At the same time, Shiradao's right hand suddenly cracked, and rockets were shot out of them, roaring, and hitting Juya. Boom boom boom. A series of explosions sounded, and for a while, the rain was filled with the smell of gunpowder. However, in the smoke and dust, Juya was shining with golden light, holding the big centipede in one hand, and directly throwing the psychic beast that was broken into 2 sections down the tall building. Did the negotiation fail? Juyi chuckled and said, I didn't intend to use my mouth to make you understand, but my fist is more direct. 9-tailed mode. Boom. In an instant, the 9-tailed chakra gushed out frantically, forming the clothes of the demon fox outside Juya's body. Above the head, a pair of fox ears appeared, and 9 tails began to be born one by one. And the most eye-catching is Juya's forehead, 3 black hook jade, distributed in a fan shape. What? All 6 of Pain were taken aback. Human Zuli. No-tailed beast. What is this? It's not an ordinary human pillar force, but it's not a tailed beast either. I have never heard of AQ that a tailed beast can transform into a human. Ju, who was hiding very far away, was also extremely shocked. Impossible, that turned out to be the 9-tailed chakra, no wonder I feel so familiar. 9 tails, didn't he escape from Konoha? What happened to this person Zuli? The 9-tailed person Zuli should be the son of Minato, Naruto, no, Naruto Uzumaki. I don't know, it seems that a mysterious force is intervening behind it. Damn, it's too far to hear what they were saying. Ju's face, half black and half white, at this moment, self, talking to, self, it seems very strange. At the same time, Pen Ludao immediately reacted. It's you who released the 9 tails. Pain narrowed his eyes. In this way, the 9 tails have indeed fallen into the hands of others, and this other person is Phantom. It is very likely that the strange person Zuli in front of him is the product of his research after obtaining the 9 tails. He. Juyi laughed without saying a word, too lazy to talk nonsense. His mind moved, and 2 figures were immediately separated. One left and one right. The 2 avatars were exactly the same as the main body, and they rushed up the moment they appeared. The avatar on the left, condensed chakra in the palm, formed a huge spiral pill, and hit Pen Ludao. The clone on the right directly locked the Hell Road. Pain's 6 realms are divided into Heaven, Asura, Human, Animal, Hungry Ghost, and Hell. Among them, the realm of Hell is the assistant and the nurse. No matter how damaged the other 5 realms are, the Hell realm can bring them back to life. Therefore, Juya's first goal, of course, is to abolish the opponent's nurse first. Almighty push. However, at this moment, the heavenly Tao in the center, the incarnation of Pain walking outside, directly activated Rinnegan. In an instant, a huge repulsive force spread rapidly around it. Juya's 2 clones were directly thrown away by this force when they were about to succeed. Even Juya himself was hit by the repulsion force and fell outside the high-rise building, from a height of tens of meters. Pain looked calm and was not surprised by all this. I don't need you to teach me how to use Rinnegan. Juyi didn't hear this. He fell from a tall building, and when he was about to fall, his body suddenly burst. Puff! The body was completely shattered, turning into hundreds of little Nine Masters in an instant. Each of the little Nine Masters is an entity, with the clothes of the demon fox, and possessing extraordinary combat power. The Nine Tails clone technique. The next moment, so many little Nine Masters turned into golden flashes and suddenly rose into the sky. Huh! Pain looked up and looked at the sky, so many golden rays of light were falling from the sky like raindrops. HMPH, what can I do if I'm cloned? He snorted coldly, and the two psychic beasts in front blocked it. However, these golden flashes were not only extremely fast, but also turned in the air, flew past directly, and appeared on the top of the Hell Realm in an instant. The next moment, Juyi recondensed his figure. Go to hell and stay in hell. With a sneer, Juyi punched out. Boom! Connecting the entire building together, the Hell Road was directly beaten into bread and shattered together with the building. Hiss! Very far away, Ju can't help but take a deep breath. This guy's strange power is really terrifying. One punch actually shattered a building. A normal person would be finished with just one punch. It doesn't feel good to wipe it. Pain's Hell has been eliminated, and the opponent is very clear about Rinnegan's ability. That's not generally clear. Nagato, who was hiding in the dark, looked very ugly. Chapter 0806_Masked Man. But the Hell Realm is not a living human body. It was exploded at this moment, and the various mechanical structures in the body also became pulpy, like broken machinery. And the building under everyone's feet collapsed instantly under this mountain-like force. For a while, the dust filled the air, and a loud noise spread throughout the entire ninja village, alarming countless people. What a strange power, it is simply a human-shaped tailed beast. Pain and the others quickly dodged, flew up, escaped from the collapsed building, and landed on the ground below. The gravel of the highest building has not yet hit the ground, and the surrounding is filled with dust, obscuring the sight. As soon as the five of Pain stood firm, they suddenly discovered that a golden figure passed by from the left-hand side. This way. Large jade spiral pills. Juya rushed out suddenly, and a super-large spiral pill was condensed on his right hand. However, the hungry ghost Dao on the side seemed to have expected it, and suddenly flashed in front of the animal Dao. Seal of sealing. Hungry Ghost whispered in his mouth, and grabbed the Dayu spiral pill with both hands. Juya's ninjutsu attack contained 827 chakras, which were quickly absorbed by the opponent at a speed visible to the naked eye. The Dayu spiral pill became smaller even more quickly, and disappeared within 3 seconds before and after. Waiting for you. Seeing this, Juyi chuckled lightly, and the 9 tails behind him suddenly stretched, jumped over his head, turned into 9 sharp spears, and stabbed the hungry ghost ruthlessly. Almighty push. Suddenly, Pain Tiandao stretched out his right hand, and Peng Tai's repulsive force rolled towards Juyi. Phew. Boom. X. The spear and sword transformed by the 9 tails collided with a repulsive barrier, and fell into a stalemate in an instant. It's really troublesome to deal with 5 or 6 people at the same time. Juyi pouted, but failed to succeed, but fortunately, he retreated backwards by means of repulsion. At this time, all the gravel of the building fell to the ground, roaring, a series of roars, and the smoke and dust became thicker and thicker. Between the 6 avatars, there is visual sharing, basically no dead ends, and sneak attacks are useless. It's a bit troublesome. Dodging far away, hiding in the dust, Juyi thought about how to deal with Pen Ludao. The realm of hell has been resolved, and the next is the realm of hungry ghosts. Hungry Ghost Road's ability is disgusting. It can absorb the opponent's ninjutsu chakra infinitely. If it is one-on-one, Juya can explode the opponent with one punch, but with 4 avatars of heaven beside him, it becomes a lot of trouble. Of course, it's just trouble, and there are ways to solve it. Hide. Suddenly, Pain Tiandao spoke coldly and said, "Where did the arrogant gesture just now go?" Also mocking. Juya laughed softly. Do you think I can't do anything about you? Between the words, one of the 9 tails behind him suddenly burrowed into the ground. The next moment, behind Hungry Ghost Dao, a red spear suddenly drilled out, launched a surprise attack from behind, and pierced through Hungry Ghost Dao's Shang chamber with one blow. Puff! Without blood donation, it was a corpse, and naturally there was no blood. This blow pierced from the back of the Hungry Ghost, and pierced from the opponent's mouth, completely abolishing the opponent. What? Pain Tiandao's eyes focused on Vivi. I am so careless, it came from the ground. In just a short while, Kung Fu Ludao has lost 2 of them. And LT, Q, and GT. Because of the smoke and dust, Pain's energy was mostly focused on the surrounding situation. He didn't expect Juya to launch an attack from the ground. At this time, the dust had dissipated, and the remaining 6 clones could clearly see where Juyi was. The other party was dignified, standing dozens of meters in front of them. However, what was shocking was that the 9 tails behind the opponent, like 9 infinitely extending arms, were flying in the air. Hand of 9-tailed chakra. Juya raised his eyebrows. You only have 6 clones, 2 of which have been resolved by me, and 4 are left. Can you hold on for a few minutes? As soon as the voice fell, the 9 arms flew out and suddenly bombarded away. Boom boom boom. The continuous attack is like killing a 6-path clone with 1 claw, ignoring the loss. Pain Tiandao was unmoved, and the 4 figures quickly moved away, showing a surrounding trend, enclosing the 9 tails in the center. However, the mere 4 avatars are still dwarfed by the hands of 9 chakras, and they have to be exhausted. For a time, there were pits and pits left on the ground, and the number of potholes was increasing rapidly. However, at a certain moment, with a puff, one of the chakra hands suddenly disappeared. Taking this opportunity, Pain Tiandao got rid of the entanglement and launched ninjutsu on Juya's body. Universal pull. Boom. In an instant, Juya's body shook, and the whole person was attracted towards the other party. It seems that your chakra is not unlimited, and the attack just now also consumed you a lot. Of course, Shan is not infinite. Like this, the 9-tailed chakra directly condenses the arm and attacks it from a long distance. Trouble, as expected, it's not enough to deal with you in human form. Juya resisted the force of pulling, but his figure was still approaching the other side little by little. Human form. Pain Tiandao frowned, keenly aware that something was wrong. The next moment, his premonition was tested. I saw Juyi's golden light skyrocketed, his body suddenly rose from the ground, and in an instant he turned into a 9-tailed demon fox, crawling on the ground. If you can make Juya use my body, you can also leave the stage. The 9-tailed demon fox let out a cold snort and slammed its paw down. Demon Fox God Fire. Above the claws, the blazing white flame is burning, which is the fire that burns the soul and tortures the soul. Impossible, you're not a human pillar, you're a tailed beast. Pain's hole shrank, and there was a hint of shock in Rinnegan. At the same time, in the extreme distance, above the tall buildings, a spiral blog post appeared in the space, and then a man wearing an orange swirl mask quietly emerged. It turned out to be 9 tails. Rinnegan with 3 hooks appeared suspiciously. It's not the 9 tails I know, what is it? His sudden appearance did not seem surprising at all. Voice said feebly, if you don't help, maybe Pen's 6 paths will be killed. That's right, Baiju said with certainty, that white flame always feels very dangerous. I've never heard of 9 tails having such power. It's hard to say if that is the 9 tails. Although the chakra attributes are basically the same, there are still slight differences. More, when will Juya be transformed into a human form? Masked man's eyes twinkle. After a while, the space around him set off a vortex of ripples, and then sneaked into the void and disappeared. I'm not suitable for exposure, leave it to Nagato Come on, don't go. The 9-tailed demon fox suddenly turned his head, and the paw that had fallen on Pain was also abruptly retracted, but instead opened his mouth and roared. Tailed Beast Cannon. Chapter 0807-Dao Wuji's Deterrent. This is the ultimate forbearance and fancy ability of the tailed beast. It simply relies on the huge chakra of the tailed beast to form a huge amount of energy balls, which are finally released in the form of shock waves. But compared with the shock waves set off by the Big Bang, Juya prefers the form of cluster rays. At this moment, in the field of vision of the masked man, under the roar of the nine-tailed demon fox, a dark black chakra beam like chaos suddenly struck. Damn! The masked man's one eye flickered with red light, the three guyu in his pupils turned rapidly, and the space ninjutsu was activated without hesitation. The next moment, the tail beast cannon swept across the building where he was. In an instant, the building disappeared and was erased by life. That's not all, a mere building can't consume the power of the tail beast cannon at all. This dark energy cannon, with an unrivaled attitude, swept over half of the ninja village in an instant. At a glance, at least dozens of buildings disappeared without a trace. After a long time, this terrifying energy gradually dissipated into the air. And with the disappearance of the tailed beast cannon, the black clouds shrouded in the sky above Uran village also dissipated quickly, and the long-lost sunlight began to sway in the village. The dark clouds dissipated and the rain stopped. Slow down a bit. Juyi's tone was very calm. The speed of space ninjutsu is really fast. His tailed beast cannon was fast enough, but he still started suddenly, but the opponent's divine might was faster. I have to say that the masked man's writing wheel eye is a very buggy ability among many writing wheel eyes. Spot. Pain Tiandao's face turned cold, and he glanced at the place where he had been attacked before. Have you been there? As soon as the voice fell, vortex ripples appeared in the space beside him, the earth wriggled like a swamp, and the masked man and Jew appeared one after the other. However, compared to the man in the mask, who was intact, he was definitely in a lot of embarrassment. The tailed beast cannon's attack is so fast, there is no space ninjutsu, and it is not easy to completely avoid it. Almost died. A lingering fear, he said. It is impossible for him to find me, it is your breath that caught his attention. The masked man ignored him, but raised his head and stared at the nine-tailed demon fox. What are you? You're not nine-tailed, at least not the nine-tailed one I know. He said in a low tone. He. Hash. Juyi chuckled and looked down at the group of people in front of him. When Pen Ludao and I were fighting, Ling was always paying attention to the surroundings. He would definitely be nearby, but unfortunately I couldn't feel his breath, but the moment you appeared, the space I sensed the fluctuations. Quote. FW_ is less than or equal to underscore. Sure enough, it's not the nine tails that I know, the voices are different. The shape of the nine tails is also different. The masked man narrowed his eyes, and the three goose jade writing wheel eyes exposed under the mask were projecting pupil power. Juya immediately felt that a wave of pupil power from Shiranyan was trying to control him. HMPH, stop dreaming, just rely on you, a little boy, you still want to control me, don't compare me with Kurama. Juya was dismissive. The masked man immediately restrained himself, and did not try again. 12 years ago, he used this eye to control the nine tails, causing a scene in Konoha, and was finally stopped by Minato Namikaze. But now, his pupil strength seems to be unable to suppress the head-tailed beast in front of him. Who asked you to come? In the silence, the masked man said in a deep voice, where is the person behind you? You don't deserve to know. Juya grinned fiercely, since I saw you, it just happens that Q represents magic, and we will deal with you, Xiao. We are very clear about what you want to do, and we will not stop it. On the contrary, we can help you, yes, but correspondingly, you must collect enough ninjutsu scrolls and hand them over to me. Quote. Fantasy. The masked man froze. It sounds like an organization. Since it is an organization, it will be troublesome. Who knows if there are other tailed beasts in this phantom organization? One head and nine tails. He is not afraid at all. If all nine-tailed beasts exist, it will be very troublesome. Moreover, no matter how you look at it, the nine-tailed demon fox in front of him is just a role of running errands, and the leader is someone else. Of course, what's even more strange about the masked man is that the other party wants to collect ninjutsu scrolls. Since you need scrolls, no problem, you can have as many as you want. But how are you going to help us? Masked man said bluntly, it's just that you came to talk, and you are not sincere enough. Since it is a transaction and cooperation, you should stand up in an upright manner. 9 flowers. Do you, who have been hiding in the dark like a mouse, have the face to say such things? Juyi pouted, Uchiha Madara. Of course, the person in front of him is not Madara Uchiha, but another member of the Uchiha family. This person's experience is also tragic. He was fooled by Madara Uchiha when he died. He was stupid and naive and terrible. The people behind you don't want to show your face, how can I trust you? The masked man snorted, and at the same time he was relieved. It seems that although the other party is mysterious and his intelligence ability is terrible, he is not omniscient. At least in terms of his identity, there is no correct judgment. Just thinking about it, suddenly a white light flickered above Juya's head, and then quickly turned into a figure. Is greater than or equal to. The man was wearing a Taoist robe. His face was cold, like a god overlooking all living beings, staring coldly at the world. How did it appear? The masked man's pupils shrank, his heart stunned. He didn't even notice when the other party appeared, just like his space ninjutsu, and suddenly appeared. Who are you? This deity is boundless. Daozun said indifferently, you can't see the leader, and this deity comes out to talk to you, which is considered to give you face. Daozun, Dao Wuji, among all Qin Yang's phantom bodies, the one with the greatest potential. It is only 1 star, but it has the combat power comparable to that of a big master. Moreover, let you do things, not to discuss, but to order. Daozun stretched out his hand and waved lightly, a little understanding of the difference in strength. Whoosh! A golden light projected out, straight to the masked man. The moment he realized that he was being attacked, the masked man immediately launched space ninjutsu. However, the moment the vortex was set off in the space, the golden light was already close to him. That's not light, it's a sword. The blade hovers in midair, and the tip of the sword almost pierces into the masked man's riding wheel. Impossible. Masked man was shocked. How is it possible to be so fast? His attack speed is even faster than my divine might. At this moment, endless cold sweat broke out from his back. Do you think that by relying on one-handed ninjutsu, no one can cure you? Daozun said indifferently, you are still far behind. Chapter 0808 _ The people who obey the soft Shaoji. In the case of all-out shots, Daozun's flying sword can be faster than the masked man's space ninjutsu, and can kill the opponent before he escapes into the different space. This time, not only the masked man was shocked, but even Pain and Ju felt suffocated. What kind of power is this? Nt say a word, and thought to himself, is it a puppet technique similar to the puppet master? Control the sword with chakra threads. The puppet master controls the puppet, condensing his own chakra into silk threads and wrapping it around the puppet to control the puppet. But the person in front of him is obviously not of this level, and he can't perceive the opponent's chakra, and there is no chakra thread on the hanging sword. The scene fell silent for a while. The masked man didn't dare to move, and Pain and Ju didn't dare to make any changes. Feijian was in front of the masked man's riding wheel. As long as he moved forward a few centimeters, he could pierce that eye. Do you understand? Suddenly, Venerable Dao's dull voice sounded again, and as he spoke, Feijian quickly withdrew. I wait for you to do it, and you do as I'm told, there is no room for bargaining. Hearing this, the masked man was silent for a while before saying, I see, you need ninjutsu scrolls, we will pay attention to collecting them. Don't try to violate yin and yang. If the number is insufficient, you will understand the consequences yourself. As for Daozun's words, the masked man's expression changed slightly, but the mask blocked him and no one could see it. What is the shortage? Look at my mood. Daozun did not give a specific number, but it is not good to give a number. When there is no clear standard, the Xiao organization will try its best to collect QM. Q. You can do it yourself. Leaving a sentence, the figure of Daozun turned into a white light, and immediately disappeared into the body of the nine-tailed demon fox. K. Juya advises you, don't overcharge, the same ninjutsu scroll, I don't need it. Mysterious rune, in fairy tale world, the same magic, the same ninjutsu, can only be absorbed once. Fortunately, it's me who came this time. If the big man in the organization takes action, your little Xiao organization will be destroyed immediately. Juya pouted, and the huge body quickly shrank and turned into a human form again. The next moment, he threw a tube of bright red blood to Pain. This is the blood of immortality. Drinking it will restore a certain amount of vitality to your body. It is considered to give you a little reward in advance. If I am satisfied with the results collected, this secret of immortality is not can't share a little more with you. Blood of immortality. Pain took it and looked at it silently. There is indeed a huge vitality in it. What is the so-called secret of longevity? Literally, no matter how powerful a ninja is, the lifespan is limited. The so-called shadow level is only a mere 100 years. For example, the 3 generations of Hokage, the strength will drop greatly when you get old. And I have mastered the secret of longevity, which can increase people's lifespan exponentially. Quote. Juya hihi isho, his eyes are full of jokes. Anyway, a slap and a handful of dates, things like longevity are extremely attractive to most people. Then, with all that said, I hope you will have enough scrolls ready when I come back next time. Goodbye, everyone of the dawn. Juyi was in a good mood. After explaining this, he left. No matter whether it was Pain or the masked man, no one stopped him. The main reason was that the deterrent power of Daozun was too terrifying, and they temporarily extinguished the extra thoughts. What do you think? You. Pain Tiandao held the blood of immortality and asked. Masked man shook his head, their intelligence is very powerful, and they are mysteries. If you find out the specific situation, they are not suitable for enemies. As for scrolls, you can collect this kind of thing by the way. It's the one in your hand longevity. What? Ju said, give this tube of blood to me first, and I will study it. I feel that it contains the vitality comparable to the cells in the column, maybe it is some kind of special blood succession limit. Pause, he continued. Pain, do you still need to do something about the 9 tails? Don't worry, the 2 heads and 9 tails are not the same. Konoha's 9 tails are still unknown, the original plan remains unchanged. Pain's tone was calm, and he handed over the blood in his hand to Ju, then turned and left. My 2 clones were broken, and I have to prepare new ones, you can do whatever you want. A few days later, Konoha village. Chinyang has been staying in Konoha recently, enjoying a rare leisure time. Now that Orochimaru and Akatsuki organized to collect scrolls for him, he has no interest in doing it himself. Therefore, he is very free, and he can also study some ninjutsu on the Book of Seals. I have to say that ninjutsu in this world is still a bit interesting, and it is not bad as a pastime after a meal. As for Sasuke Uchiha, under his guidance, Lei Jian has barely mastered it, but because of the lack of chakra in his body, he will basically be exhausted after using it once or twice. However, this strength is still too weak. Chinyang wondered if he should find some stimulation to let Sasuke Uchiha open Sengo Jade earlier. At this moment, the Uchiha mansion. Chinyang sat down, flipping through some scrolls in his hands. Is greater than or equal to. The door was pushed open, and Sasuke Uchiha came back. How is it? No chance. Sasuke Uchiha shook his head and said, the village is heavily guarded now, and I can't get the scroll. I'm not asking you this, I'm asking you, when will Kakashi take you on a mission? Chinyang chuckled, ninja's mission is not to eat others and catch cats. I don't know. I've had enough of this kind of task. Sasuke Uchiha was helpless. Naruto Uzumaki proposed a more advanced task today, and Kakashi agreed. Maybe there will be a new task tomorrow. Very good. Chinyang's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, take this. Saying that, he threw a scroll to Sasuke Uchiha. What is this? Don't ask, just wear it with you. Of course Chinyang wouldn't tell him that this thing is for positioning. If his butterfly did not change the plot too much, the task he received tomorrow should be to escort someone to the country of waves, and then he would encounter a hostile Junin. I see. Sasuke Uchiha nodded and didn't ask any further. He admired the man in front of him. This admiration mainly came from comparison. Comparing Kakashi and Chinyang together, he can easily come to a conclusion that this guy is a much stronger character than the last 2.6 forbearance. Go practice, don't waste time. The next day. The 7th class gathered at the Hokage building, ready to find Sarutobi Hizen for a more advanced task. But unexpectedly, in the office, Kakashi saw a white-haired man. Sasuke Uchiha sighed inwardly, he is no longer who he was some time ago. Since he met Chinyang, his strength has improved rapidly, and his judgment of a person's strength has improved a lot. The white-haired man who appeared in Hokage's office in front of him is very powerful. Sir Jiraiya. Kakashi was startled. Kakashi, Jiraiya also glanced back at him and greeted him with a smile, I just came back today. I heard that a lot of things happened in the village. As he said that, he had already looked at Naruto Uzumaki, and there was a little doubt in his eyes. Chapter 0809-Country of Waves. Take the time, and Renzuli himself will die at one point. But Naruto Uzumaki was obviously not dead. According to what the 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi said, after that night, Naruto Uzumaki still seemed to be fine the next day and lived well. With such doubts in mind, Jiraiya looked at Hinzuki Sarutobi with inquiring eyes. In response, Hizen Sarutobi shook his head, took a puff of cigarette, and said, this matter is very strange. There is still a small part of nine-tailed chakra left in Naruto's body, and looking at the seal, it seems to be intact. How could the seal be intact? Jiraiya's eyes widened and he was a little confused. Since the seal was intact, how did the 9 tails come out? Probably able to understand Jiraiya's mood at the moment, Sarutobi Hizen sighed. The person who liberates the 9 tails obviously has very good ninjutsu skills. It's not a question of whether ninjutsu is good or not. Could it be that after that person broke the seal, he reimposed a gossip seal on Naruto? Jiraiya couldn't help but said. Sarutobi Hizen still shook his head, obviously he really didn't understand. Hearing the conversation between the two, Kakashi didn't say anything, and Sasuke Uchiha's eyes flashed, obviously thinking of something. Only Naruto Uzumaki, holding the back of his head, muttered, what are you talking about? I don't understand at all. Compared with this, we are assigned a more important task, helping others take care of children, go shopping, or else collect sweet potatoes and retrieve pet cats. I don't want such tasks anymore. Ha! Sarutobi Hizen sighed, his expression full of helplessness. Listen, Naruto. The ninjas in the village, including me, were roughly divided into 4 grades, Shadow, Upper Ninja, Chunin, and Lower Ninja. Missions it is distributed by our senior management to competent ninjas. Quote. The tasks are divided into 5 levels, S, A, B, C, D. The tasks that Genin can do are only C rank and D rank. Chunin is B and C rank. Q. Joinin is a grade and grade. The development of a ninja village needs funds, and the entrusting person will entrust certain tasks to the village, and the village will then distribute it to the appropriate ninja, which is related to the stability and safety of the village. Therefore, in the distribution of tasks, novices can only start from simple to start. Sarutobi Hizen explained patiently that Naruto had just suffered a great disaster recently, and he was indeed a little hesitant whether he should be given a more advanced task. Then what level did the tasks I did before? Uzumaki Naruto asked. D-class, Kakashi said from the side. Sure enough, it is the lowest level. Can you give us a C-level task? Uzumaki Naruto yelled excitedly _. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hizen took out a stack of commissions from his desk and said, flipping through it for a while, before saying, I understand, then I'll give you a C-level task. Go protect someone. Who is it? Who is it? Is it the big name or the princess? Bing. Naruto Uzumaki cheered and asked with a smile on his face. It's a master bridge builder who escorted him to the country of waves. He's waiting for you in the hall below, and you'll see it when you go down. Saying that, Sarutobi Hizen looked at Kakashi and said, if you are on a C-level mission, there won't be too much danger, and you won't encounter hostile ninjas. Kakashi, I'll leave it to you. Yes, 3 generations of adults. Kakashi nodded, and immediately raised the knife with his right hand and slapped it on Naruto's forehead. Let's go, noisy brat. Yes. Naruto Uzumaki was full of excitement and didn't care about being beaten. Sasuke Uchiha didn't say a word, but in his heart, he was still a little happy that he could leave the village. Immediately, a group of 4 left the office queue. As soon as they left, Sarutobi Hizen's expression became serious again. Jiraiya, although you just came back, I still want to ask you one thing. Protect Naruto. As if seeing the deep meaning of the 3 generations, Jiraiya nodded clearly. Yes, follow them in secret. I suspect that Naruto is being targeted. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a deep breath. Now, other countries should also receive news. This time Naruto leaves the village, he may encounter other countries. The ninja. It's good to confirm the information, knowing that the other 5 countries that the 9 Tails broke the seal must take action. It has never been a secret that Uzumaki Naruto is Konoha's main force, and Uzumaki Naruto himself does not know. And, that night, the mysterious man Naruto came into contact with may have his whereabouts. I see, that's why I came back to see it. Jirai also thought about it, but still said, actually, before I came back, I met a mysterious guy, and it was incredible to say it, but that guy seems to be the 9-tailed man Zuli. What? Sarutobi Hizen was stunned. Konoha, Hokage Rock. Chinyang stood on the head of the first Hokage, overlooking the entire village. Sure enough, it is the mission of the country of waves. It seems that my little butterfly has not changed the general trend of history. Chinyang let out a low laugh and said to himself, however, this time, the country of the wave is not an enemy of that level. The ninjas of the 5 major countries, the Shao organization, will appear. A Kakashi. A Jiraiya, I wonder if it can be protected well. The 5 great powers understand it very well. Since they know that the 9 Tails have broken the seal, they will inevitably send spies to confirm the information. It is normal for Naruto Uzumaki to be targeted as a human pillar force. Is greater than or equal to. As for the Akatsuki organization, the purpose of this group of guys has always been that the tailed beast knows that the 9 Tails have returned to freedom, and if they want to find it, they must also focus on Naruto Uzumaki. Of course, they just don't know who will be dispatched and which members. I'll send an illusory body too, something interesting should happen. Thinking like this, Chinyang's mind moved, and a white light was projected on his chest, which quickly turned into a human figure. Anne's Ergen. Same day, the other side. In the land of fire, on a mountain path, 3 men and women dressed in red cloud robes with a black background were walking slowly. The 3 walked slowly, as if no matter what happened, they were not in a hurry at all. I said, it's boring to be so silent, say something, Itachi. The man carrying a large knife with sharp teeth couldn't help but say at this moment, are we going to Konoha? Confirm the information. Uchiha Itachi said indifferently, since the 9 Tails have fled, then the first thing to confirm this is to find someone, Zuli. Aside, the list of only female voices. I don't have to go to Konoha, I got the information, the target left the village, it seems to carry out a mission, the destination is the country of waves, we can intercept it directly outside. It is much safer than invading Konoha. Between the words, a paper crane flew back and landed on the back of Xiao Nan's hand. With it, copy Ninja Kakashi. As Kakashi the Shaker, Big Swordsman grinned Isho, Itachi, I don't know how that guy's shaker compares to yours. However, Uchiha Itachi ignored him at all, like a piece of ice, exuding an air of not wanting to speak. The three of them chatted without a word, slowly, moving towards Konoha, no, towards the direction of the country of waves. Philo reminds you, there are 3 things to read: collection, recommendation and sharing. K 48440. Chapter 0810-Fall into Darkness. This man was an old man, wearing a top hat, dead fish eyes, and smelled of alcohol. What are you doing? The guys that Konoha sent to protect me are all brats, and I feel unreliable at all. The old man took a sip and hiccuped, and then he shouted and complained. I am a famous bridge builder, Dasna from the land of waves. You ninjas, please protect me well and reach the land of waves until I finish building the bridge, do you understand? What? That high-spirited tone. Haruno Sakura frantically complained in her heart. Uzumaki Naruto straightened the ninja forehead guard on his head and said loudly, do you see clearly? This is the ninja forehead guard Iruka gave me personally, I am a ninja. Old man, you can rest assured, there is me. Uzumaki Naruto will protect you, don't worry at all. Dwarf Melon, you are the most unreliable person. Dasna glanced at him and sneered. I'm going to kill him. Uzumaki Naruto was furious. Kakashi punched him and said, this is the protection target, idiot. Stop talking nonsense, let's go. The group was noisy and officially set off. Uzumaki Naruto muttered angrily, dead old man, remember it for me, I am a super excellent ninja who will inherit the Naruto name sooner or later, Uzumaki Naruto. I won't, kid, even if you really become Hokage. Sakura, don't pull me, I really want to kill him. Shut up, idiot Naruto. Haruno Sakura rolled her eyes and punched her hard. This time, Naruto Uzumaki is much more honest. And not long after they left, Konoha's Taimen opened again. This time, the person who walked out was Jiraiya. Lord Jiraiya, be careful all the way. An Anbu ninja nodded and said. Don't worry, leave it to me. Zillai also waved his hand and followed without turning his head. He is secretly protecting, and on the one hand, he also means to lure the enemy to appear, so he will not be exposed. Of course, this enticement was mainly aimed at the mysterious man who liberated the 9 tails that day, that is, Qin Yung, not the 5 great nations. However, the mantis catches the cicada, and the oriole is behind. Jirai did not know that a few minutes after he left, a portal suddenly appeared in the space, and then, Ains Ergong stepped out from the portal. Sasuke Uchiha has a positioning scroll on his body, but don't worry about losing it. Ains Ergong said in a deep voice, holding a staff in his hand, and walked slowly. Mid-level undead creation, undead warhorse. Suddenly, when Ains Ergong tapped his staff, a dark magic energy was instantly projected and landed on the ground beside him. The next moment, a mighty warhorse riding on the flame of the orchid suddenly condensed and appeared. Ains Ergong stepped on the warhorse and shouted in a low voice, follow up, don't expose yourself. Way. The undead warhorse let out a low roar, and then walked on foot. The strange thing was that when it walked, the 4 legs made no sound at all. The country of waves is a country without ninjas, a small island country located in the east of Konoha. There is no ninja village in China, the number of ninjas is almost 0, the economy is poor, and the living is poor. Along the way, Kakashi introduced the 3 little ghosts by the way. Of waves will entrust Konoha to protect them. However, most countries have their own ninja villages, large or small, and all countries are headed by Wutai Kingdom. Every big country has a strong ninja village, and each ninja village has another one. Film. After a pause, Kakashi looked at the intimacy heaven and explained casually. The so-called 5 shadows refer to the leaders of the 5 major ninja villages, namely Hokage, Raikage, Tsuchikage, Mizukage, Kazekage. Speaking of which, when everyone passed by a puddle, Kakashi glanced at the small puddle and stepped directly over. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly emerged from the small pool of water. The ninja that suddenly appeared, using the chain as a weapon, jumped into the air and flew past Kakashi's head. The chain in his hand was like a snake, and he bound Kakashi's whole body in an instant. Success! The man sneered. Then, in another puddle, another figure rushed out, holding 3 shuriken, hitting Kakashi's vest in one breath. Puff puff. The 3 shuriken accurately hit the key, and Kakashi was shocked and fell directly to the ground. Kakashi-sensei. Uzumaki Naruto paled in shock. Ah! Haruno Sakura even screamed. Only Uchiha Sasuke, his pupils shrank, immediately assumed a fighting stance. Ninja. Why are there ninjas in sea-level missions for Naruto? Sasuke Uchiha's muscles were tense, and he thought of the 9 tails for a moment. Fix 1. Seeing that the Sharingan in the team was dead, the 2 sneak attack ninjas immediately targeted the 3 shamanen. Next, it's you. One of them sneered, threw out the chain again, and walked towards Naruto Uzumaki. Seeing this, Naruto Uzumaki shuddered all over. It was different from the ordinary battles encountered in the school. This was a fight. The fight between ninjas was rushed by the murderous aura of the other side. His brain had fallen into a blank, and he stood in the same place stupidly, unable to move. However, he couldn't move, and Sasuke Uchiha could still respond. Under Chin Yang's training, this guy's strength improved by leaps and bounds. At this moment, a kunai was thrown, and the flying chains were thrown into the air and fixed on the big tree beside it. HMPH, 2 Jinin. Sasuke hummed inwardly, and in a leap, he quickly formed a seal in his hand, and then opened his mouth and spit. Fire escape, the art of fireball. Damn brat. One of them looked ugly, and immediately shouted, water escape water chaos. He also spit out, and a water gun shot out suddenly like a waterfall. The chakras of the 2 attributes of water and fire collided and exploded in an instant. Boom. For a while, the water vapor filled the air and turned into a thick fog. The 2 ninjas looked at each other and started working together. One of them rushed towards Dasna, and the other locked onto Haruno Sakura. Dasna was extremely nervous and, realizing that the 2 were targeting him, turned around without hesitation to run. HMPH, you can't run away. The ninja opened his mouth hoarsely, and the chain in his hand turned into a javelin and shot it out. However, at this moment, in front of him, a thunderous light suddenly struck. Uchiha Sasuke didn't know when, he was already close. Sure enough, your target is him. If it was that idiot Naruto, it wouldn't be just these 2. Speaking coldly, Sasuke Uchiha grabbed it with one paw. L. Thunderclaw. Puff. Single quote. The Thunderclaw with extremely strong destructive power smashed the opponent's chain at once, and then hit the opponent's chest, directly grabbing him to death. Hit by Thunderclaws, the body is invaded by Thunder attribute chakra, and after paralysis, it is the fish to be slaughtered. This ninja never expected that a mere kid would use this kind of ninjutsu. Immediately died. It's so powerful. Sasuke Uchiha was shocked. This was the first time he had killed someone, but he was more surprised by the power of the Thunder Claw than the feeling of killing someone. I used it on Kakashi once before, but that time, it was easily cracked by the other party, and now it is the first time it has succeeded. The ninjutsu taught by that man is really unusual. It seems that I have to collect scrolls as soon as possible and learn more and stronger ninjutsu. For revenge, whether it is stealing or robbing, I will get it. Sasuke Uchiha, earlier than before, began to fall into darkness. Chapter 0811 _ The Peach Land will not be cut again. HMPH, of course dead. Sasuke Uchiha calmed down his fluctuating heart, but he still had a cold look on the surface. How is it possible, with you as a kid? Next is you. Sasuke's thoughts moved, and suddenly, on the right hand, the electric light flashed, and the thunder claw appeared again. Don't come here. Come again, and I'll kill her. I don't know if it was because he was intimidated by the scene in front of him, or because he was shocked by the ninjutsu of Thunder Claw, the ninja had a bit of retreat. Missed. Although he killed Konoha's Jonin, the kid in front of him was unexpectedly difficult to deal with. Sasuke, Haruno Sakura's body trembled, obviously frightened. Seeing this, Uchiha Sasuke Vivi frowned, slashed, and didn't make another move. Seeing this, the ninja was instantly overjoyed, and just as he was about to speak, his neck suddenly became cold, and then, a sharp touch came. Don't move, if you don't want your aorta to be cut, then you will be captured. What? The ninja froze all over, his eyes rolled, and he looked back. He was approached by someone unknowingly, and this person was Konoha Jonin, who had previously been killed with a shuriken. Impossible, you are not dead. 250. In the middle of the conversation, he suddenly caught a glimpse of the corpse that was lying on the ground. Damn it, it's a substitute technique. Can't tell. Kakashi's eyelids were drooping, and he said calmly, I noticed you a long time ago. Judging from your appearance, it should be Karayan's Chunin. What is the purpose? Chunin. Uchiha Sasuke Vivi was startled, isn't it Genin? A Chunin, was he killed directly by his Thunder Claw? Is Chunin really that weak? As if seeing his thoughts, Kakashi explained, it's not that they are weak, it's that your Thunder Claw is special. People who don't know it are easy to be tricked for the first time. Moreover, that guy didn't die, but was paralyzed, seriously injured and comatose. It turns out that Sasuke Uchiha was overjoyed, and only then did he realize how powerful the ninjutsu taught by Yang was. However, I have to say, you did a great job. Calmness is a necessary quality for a ninja. Kakashi praised, and then quickly subdued another ninja. Tell me, what is the purpose, who is the target? You. The ninja looked ugly, opened his mouth, hesitated for a moment, and had to say, the goal is, Senpai. However, before his words came out, a silver light flickered in the woods not far away. PFF'd. The ninja's throat was pierced by a blow, and then he opened his mouth, vomited blood, and fell to the ground dead. Ming. Anyone else? Kakashi's expression didn't change, but he was a little surprised. It's 1,000 copies, one-hit kill, with chakra attached. A silver needle easily killed a Chunin. Kakashi didn't have time to stop it, and when he looked over there, the hidden person seemed to have left. Haruno Sakura was so frightened that she seemed to want to pull out the silver needle. Don't touch it, it's poisonous. Kakashi said, Mr. Dasna, it looks like you're hiding something. This group of people should be coming for you. There won't be ninjas on sea-level missions, they're at most robbers or mafia. At present, it seems that this task is at least B-level or above. You make it difficult for us to do it. I'm sorry. Dasna's expression darkened, he opened his mouth, and then slowly said, since this is the case, let me tell you, it is like this. At the same time, in the nearby forest, a figure flew between the lush trees. It was a vigorous figure, wearing a face mask, young and short in stature. Sure enough, it failed. It's a copy of Kakashi, the ninja, and I have to inform Master Zaibujian. He thought to himself. Suddenly, at the foothold in front, a fantastic door suddenly opened in the space, and a terrifying, trembling aura came from it. He was startled in his heart, and immediately stopped, looking forward with a cautious attitude. I saw a person walking out of the gate of fantasy, wearing a large black cloak, also wearing a mask, covered with strange patterns. A low and majestic voice sounded. Take me to meet your breeder. What? Don't you understand? Let Zaifujian come to see me. Ainzurgong said coldly. Don't think about running away, you can't get away. Who are you? Konoha's man. Saying the name that will never be cut again makes him have to care. Looks like I can't communicate with you. Ainzurgong didn't say much. He immediately stretched out his right hand, and the palm that stretched out from under the black robe was a bone. The ninth order, the undead system, the hand of the undead. The hand of the bones, press lightly, is greater than or equal to. Suddenly, the young boy immediately knelt down with a thud. It was as if the hand of bone was pressing his head in the air, forcing his body to kneel. What? Now, can you understand what I said? Kakashi and his party did not give up the mission because of the concealment of the entrustment, but chose to continue to escort Dasna to the country of waves. The group arrived at the port at noon, then took a small boat to sea, and arrived in the country of waves before the evening. Through this thick fog, you can see the bridge of the land of waves. The bridge has not been built yet. The boatman explained. The crowd remained silent. Even Naruto Uzumaki, who had always been noisy, was silent at the moment. He recalled the previous battle. When facing the enemy, he was intimidated by the murderous aura of his opponent and dared not even move. On the contrary, Sasuke Uchiha performed well, which made him very hurt and angry at his cowardice. Kakashi patted him on the shoulder, and then said to the three of the team, Dasna is being targeted by a man named Kobo. He is the owner of a shipping company, the world's #1 billionaire, and he will meet again later. To the ninjas, no matter what happens, the three of your first priority is to protect Dasna, and as for the enemy, leave it to me to deal with. Understand? Yes, Kakashi-sensei. Haruno Sakura nodded quickly. At the same time, the group will also gain an understanding of Dasna's affairs. Cardo is the big boss of the shipping company. He set his sights on the country of waves a year ago. As a small island country, being controlled by shipping is equivalent to being controlled by the lifeline of the country. The bridge that Dasna wants to build will threaten this, so it is a simple conflict of interest. Just as the boat was gradually letting out the thick fog, on the island not far away, near the bridge, a man with a long knife was watching all this. Copy Ninja Kakashi HMPH, the legendary shaker. Interesting. As soon as he finished speaking, Ainzurgong appeared beside him. You are not his opponent. That guy has already opened a kaleidoscope, and you can't beat him with 10. However, as long as you use the power I gave you flexibly, you have a chance to win. Show off well and please. Me, I won't cut the peach land again. Chapter-0812-Encounter Shao. The Chunin, of course, is a defection. However, what he didn't know was that Kakashi basically didn't make a move, and the dark head was solved by Sasuke Uchiha. Thinking of this, Momochi glanced at Ainzurgong beside him. This mysterious guy suddenly appeared with his subordinate Shiro. Although he didn't know the other party's purpose, he seemed to want to target Kakashi and his party and gave him a mysterious power. I don't know what you want to do, but just don't get in my way. Leave a sentence, then turn around and leave without cutting. Go, bye. Yes, don't kill the adults again. Watching the two leave, Ainzurgong let out a low laugh, and quietly escaped, preparing to watch a good show. Not long after, Kakashi and his party finally landed in the country of waves. The escort mission does not end here. The mission description is to escort Dasna to the land of waves and keep it safe until the bridge is built. At this moment, everyone went to Dasna's house. When passing a small road, suddenly, from the woods on the side, a big knife flew. The broadsword danced and spun in the air, and suddenly inserted into the ground in front of everyone. The next moment, a figure was already standing on top of the inverted broadsword. This person is topless, with a bandage around his mouth, and a ninja forehead on his forehead. That is Huji of the Wuin village in the land of water, but above the crisis, a line is drawn, which represents the betrayal of the ninja village. Probably psychologically prepared, Kakashi and his party expected that there would be ninja shots, and it was not too unexpected at this moment. Sure enough, it's not Chunin anymore, it's Joinin. Kakashi sighed inwardly and secretly said something troublesome. Sasuke Uchiha's face was not very good. He could feel that the ninja in front of him was much stronger than the previous two. Only Naruto Uzumaki is eager to try. Come on, come on. Hee, I can't lose to Sasuke like I did just now. Aware of his emotions, Kakashi stretched out his hand to hold Naruto's shoulder, and at the same time rushed to the person and said, "It turns out that the peach land of Karayan will not be cut again. Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, the three of you protect the client. This guy is incomparable to the two just now. It's Karigakushi's joinin, leave it to me." As he spoke, Kakashi held down his forehead and pushed it up slightly, revealing his normally hidden left eye. It was a three-hooked jade writing wheel eye. Not only that, but there was a vertical scar above the left eye. Oh! Zaibushin let out an inexplicable low-pitched moan. Kakashi, who wrote the wheel eye, according to legend, your eye has copied thousands of ninjutsu. If I offend you, I just want that old man's head, so I can let it go. What? This can't be done. I also have a mission here. It's you, can you give up the assassination? Kakashi said. The two talked for a while, and the expressions of the other people were different. The three of Naruto didn't know Zabuza, a little kid who had never been out of the village, and of course they didn't know the famous ninja outside the village. Ah, evil fire. Naruto showed a shocked expression. Although he didn't know what it was, he seemed to be very powerful. Sakura is also not clear, only Sasuke, showing a look of surprise. After seeing the shape of Sangoyu, Sasuke was even more shocked. Sharing eye people who use pupil art can instantly see through illusion, fighting technique and ninjutsu with their eyesight, and fight back as they are, and writing round eye is a kind of pupil art. But writing the terrifying wheel eye is far more than that. Quote. Sasuke Uchiha explained in a low voice. He, that's right, he can instantly see through the enemy's ninjutsu and copy it down. Sneered, when I was in Wyan's assassination unit, I had your information in the manual that I carried with me, and Kashi. It was clearly marked that a foreigner transplanted a writing wheel eye, and copying thousands of ninjutsu. It is Konoha's elite jonin. After so many years, let me see how strong your strength is. As soon as the voice fell, he did not do a backflip, and at the same time kicked his own beheading sword. This exaggerated and huge sharp blade swirled and threw it towards Kakashi. Seeing this, Kakashi's heart sank, but his heart was very calm. When he heard the other party introduce himself, he couldn't help recalling what happened not long ago. At that time, I saw Uchiha Itachi, and he was instantly defeated by the opponent's pupil technique. Monthly read. In that spiritual space, Uchiha Itachi had a conversation with him. He didn't talk to the third person about the specific content, because he didn't trust each other very much, and the content of those words was too unbelievable. 9 flowers. However, the content of the conversation doesn't matter. The key is that he was stimulated by the kaleidoscope at that time, and afterwards, his pupil power has also improved significantly. Although I have probably mastered it, I haven't really used it yet. Kakashi whispered, then shouted, you three, take Dazna and go first. Quick. As he spoke, he slammed down on the ground, fluttering the spinning broadsword, flying over his head. Let's go first. Sasuke Uchiha said solemnly, Junin, it's not something we can deal with now. Staying here will only get in the way. Between words, he has already started to withdraw. Is greater than or equal to. Naruto didn't want to leave, but under Sakura's pull, he also retreated with Sasuke. Giggle, no longer smiling, Kakashi, do you think they can escape? He didn't know what was right, and he had already appeared behind Kakashi. The moment the beheading sword flew over Kakashi's head, he was caught by him again, and then he slashed towards him. Are there any companions? Kakashi was agile, with one hand on the ground, a forward somersault, dodged a blow, and at the same time, he quickly formed a seal in midair. Shadow clone technique. With a puff, Kakashi split into two, one of which was cloned, chasing the four of Naruto directly. HMPH, you look down on me too much. No longer annoyed, he slashed with a knife, hitting the gravel on the enclave, and one of them slammed the back of the shadow clone, breaking it directly. Facing me, are you still thinking of sending clones to protect those little devils? Seeing this, Kakashi lowered his eyes. I am sorry, I hope Lord Jiraiya can protect them. At the same time, Sasuke and his party of four were quickly fleeing the battlefield. They don't have a clear destination. In short, they just follow the path and keep running forward. However, just as he was about to walk out of the woods, suddenly, a slight bell sounded, followed by a mist in front of him, and three figures walked towards this side one after another. The three of them walked slowly, not hurriedly, and everyone was dressed similarly and wore the same clothes. Sasuke has seen this kind of costume once. Itachi. Sasuke Uchiha was shocked, staring at the Q underscore in the center of the three. L. Oh, Itachi, your younger brother is also there. Dried persimmon ghost shark grinned P. Uchiha Itachi looked indifferent, didn't even look at Sasuke, just stared at Naruto Uzumaki. I found it. Ren Zuli. Chapter 0813 Man Force Runaway. Naruto Uzumaki was stunned for a while, not knowing what he meant, but Itachi Uchiha, he had already seen it once, not long ago in Konoha, on the day of graduation. I heard that you are Sasuke's brother, why did you defect from the village? Naruto couldn't help saying. Hearing this, the dried persimmon shark grinned and said, Little devil, we came to you on purpose. Although it will be a bit rough, I'm sorry. Saying that, he slowly walked towards Naruto. At this moment, Uchiha Sasuke's eyes have turned blood red, and two-hooked jade are reflected in the pupils. Itachi. Sasuke Uchiha's voice was suppressed, and he shouted out word by word, and the next moment, he sprinted forward quickly. It has to be said that under the strong emotional fluctuations, he exerted a speed far exceeding the speed of ordinary restraint. Not only that, during the running, Sasuke Uchiha's right hand became claw-like, the electric light flickered on it, and the crackling sound kept coming. Thunder Sword. CCC. In an instant, thunder light loudly, a ninjutsu, almost used up more than half of Uchiha Sasuke's chakra. This chakra gathered in the right hand, the nature changed to thunder attribute, and finally condensed into a sword of thunder. Seeing this scene, Rao was Uchiha Itachi, and his eyes changed slightly. Guyu, Thunder Shield Ninjutsu. Uchiha Itachi murmured in a low voice, facing Sasuke's killing, he did not panic, and made a seal with one hand. The next moment, a pupil force was projected out. Uchiha Sasuke's body froze, and the moment he rushed in front of Uchiha Itachi, his body seemed to be wrapped in countless vines, binding him to death. Illusion. Sasuke's face was ugly and he tried to pierce it. Bing. It's useless, the gap between you and me is too big. Between words, Uchiha Itachi stretched out his hand to grab Sasuke's neck and lifted him directly. My stupid little brother, who taught you the Thunderbolt ninjutsu? Kakashi. It's really good to be able to master this kind of Muji ninjutsu, but the gap between you and me is huge, not such a ninjutsu can do it. Make up. Quote. As he said that, he suddenly let go, and at the same time his knees slammed. Boom. With a muffled sound, Sasuke was hit by a knee on the abdomen, and the whole person suddenly felt that the world was spinning, and his brain lost consciousness for a while. And in the next second, Uchiha Itachi's backhand was a hand knife, draped directly on the back of Sasuke's head. Boom. Sasuke only felt a trance, and fell into a blank for a moment. With a plop, he fell to the ground, and he didn't even have the strength to move. As expected of Itachi, he didn't hesitate to attack his younger brother. Dried persimmon ghost shark. Hey Isho, would you like me to help you make a knife to make sure he doesn't die in pain? Shui. Don't waste your time. Xiaonan said softly, let's go after confirming the information on Renzuli. Understood, Xiaonan. The dried persimmon ghost shark nodded, and then walked in front of Naruto Uzumaki. Under his huge murderous aura, Naruto Uzumaki shuddered, his heart was filled with fear, and his wide eyes were mixed with thick horror. However, at this moment, a voice with the same shocking meaning sounded. Xiao Nan, you were really Xiao Nan. Looking in the direction from which the voice came, Xiao Nan showed a hint of surprise. You. I saw a white-haired man walking out behind the big tree by the roadside. Bing. Although there have been some changes and grown up a lot, you are Xiao Nan. Jiraiya said incredulously, you actually survived. Where's Nagato and Yahiko, are they okay? Teacher Jiraiya. Xiao Nan's voice was cold, and he had no joy in seeing his master again. Long time no see. I hope Teacher Zilaya will not interfere, we just want to confirm the situation of Renzuli. She spoke calmly, without any disturbance. Xiao. Jiraiya's expression froze, and then he woke up from the shock of Xiao Nan's resurrection. Your outfits are indeed Akatsuki, what are you trying to do? Are you here for Naruto? Hearing this, Xiao Nan was silent for a moment, then suddenly raised his hand. You guys confirm the information, I will contain Jiraiya. The paper spear. As he said that, on his raised right hand, endless white paper was quickly wrapped around, forming a spear of paper. The next moment, the spear was projected directly towards Jiraiya. Seeing this, Jiraiya's complexion changed. Sure enough, you are indeed Xiao Nan among the three of you, God's paper maker. What's going on? Conan, Nagato, Yahiko, the three were war orphans during the Second Ninja World War. Jiraiya was still young, rescued the three in the war, and taught them ninjutsu. Although he only taught for 3 years, Jiraiya also had feelings for the three children at that time, and he was regarded as his apprentice. It was only later that I heard that the three of them still lost their lives in the war. For this reason, Jiraiya also searched for it, but to no avail. Unexpectedly, I saw Xiao Nan again today. You talk too much, Teacher Jiraiya. The Shan paper spears condensed 3 handles in one breath, and projected them all at once. Jiraiya rolled back and dodged. But before he could stand firm, there were tens of thousands of pieces of paper flying behind him, and each piece of paper suddenly exploded like gunpowder. Boom! The big explosion resounded, alarming Kakashi and Zabujian who were not far away. However, the two were stuck and couldn't be distracted. Ah! Naruto was startled, and the fear deepened. Threatened by my murderous aura, Konoha's people are not very strong. The dried persimmon shark shook his head, immediately formed a seal, and then placed a palm on Naruto's chest. Let me see the 9 tails in your body. Huh! Boom! Suddenly, it seemed to be stimulated in some way. Uzumaki Naruto's body overflowed with a trace of chakra, the silk-tailed beast. It actually started to turn into a tail beast. The dried persimmon ghost shark was taken aback. I didn't move the seal, it's strange. These chakra attributes are extremely evil, and Naruto Uzumaki was shrouded in this chakra, and his body skin suffered slight burns. Not only that, his hands gradually turned into fox claws, his teeth became sharp, his language function was lost, and he let out a low roar. Suddenly, he slapped out his paw and smashed the dried persimmon ghost shark into the air. Roar! Naruto raised his head and let out a painful roar, and the chakra around him became more and more violent, like a coat of a demon fox, forming a tail of a demon fox behind him. Damn it, he went wild. The dried persimmon ghost shark steadied his body and pulled out the big knife behind his back angrily. Itachi, it seems that the information is wrong, the 9 tails are still in this guy. Since he is here, I will deal with him now. The same time, from a few hundred meters above the sky, Ains Ergen looked down at everything that happened below. Is there a backup for the 9 tails? He whispered to himself. No wonder Naruto not only didn't die, but he was still alive and kicking like no one else. When the seal was broken, the 9 tails deliberately left some of his power behind. Was he trying to use Uzumaki Naruto to revive him? The power left by the 9 tails is not much. At this moment, Naruto Uzumaki is only the level of one tail, which is not worth mentioning. Interesting, this old fox is quite cautious. Let me see what you plan to do. Chapter 0814-Demon Fox's Clothes Transfer Technique. In a runaway state. NGT. In order to suppress Naruto, the dried persimmon ghost had to show some real skills. As for Sasuke Uchiha, he was knocked down by his elder brother Itachi Uchiha. At this moment, he can only witness all this happening and can't do anything. Itachi Uchiha looked at Naruto Uzumaki and frowned without a trace. That is indeed nine-tailed chakra. Is the information wrong? No, Konoha directed and acted this kind of thing. What is the special purpose? To say self-directed and self-acted, it is impossible to think about it. That's nine tails, so many people in the whole village see it, it can't be fake. In this case, why does Naruto Uzumaki still have the power of the nine tails in his body? Uchiha Itachi felt that things were a little subtle, and he suddenly remembered another piece of information. Uchiha Itachi sneaked into the Konoha building one night and stole the sealed book. This shouldn't be fake. In order to fight against Sarutobi Hizen's prestige, Danzo is now spreading the news throughout Konoha, and even the outside world knows about it. However, Uchiha Itachi knew very well that he had never done such a thing, and someone must have acted in disguise as him. I always feel that there is a great connection between the Nine Tails and the Book of Seals, and it may be done by the same group of people. What would he, or their purpose, be? Uchiha Itachi is calm, as he has always been, and after a little thought at this moment, he came up with an ambiguous answer. Some people hope that the Shao organization will be exposed in advance. Because no matter how you look at it, these two things eventually made Shao organization a little passive. The current situation was caused by the other party. However, Uchiha Itachi doesn't really care about Akatsuki's organization. In contrast, he cares more about his younger brother. Sasuke Uchiha has even mastered the Muji ninjutsu of Thunder Sword, which is definitely not taught by Kakashi. Kakashi does not have such ninjutsu. Thinking of this, Uchiha Itachi immediately said, "Retreat, Ghost Shark." He spoke, he looked down at Sasuke. "My stupid brother, who wants to avenge me, is not far from enough. You bastard." Sasuke Uchiha gritted his teeth and glared at him, and he stood up trembling with the needle stuck. Uchiha Itachi stretched out his right hand, put his index finger and middle finger together, and tapped lightly on the other's forehead. "You're still a long way off." Under this finger, there was a sudden impulse, which directly knocked Sasuke Uchiha into the air. Boom! Sasuke Uchiha rolled several times and fell a few meters away. "Let's withdraw, Ghost Shark." "Wait, Itachi. The strength of this person Zuli is very average. I will deal with him immediately and bring it back to study." Is less than or equal to. He was beaten a few times by the rampant Naruto, but at this moment, the dried persimmon Ghost Shark did not want to retreat. He wielded a large knife wrapped in a bandage and slashed at Naruto Uzumaki Q. Facing this blow, Naruto Uzumaki, who lost his mind, raised his hand to resist. However, the opponent is an S-rank rebel and bears the title of human-shaped tailed beast. With great brute force, he slashed over with a knife, carrying an extremely heavy power, and directly slapped Naruto Uzumaki into the air. "It's really tough." The dried persimmon Ghost Shark grinned. "Nine-tailed chakra tastes good. It seems that you have to show some strength." He threw the broadsword high, freeing up his hands to quickly form a seal, water escape, water shark bombing technique. In an instant, chakra created a water bomb in the shape of a shark, and the water bomb rushed out of a small puddle on the side of the road, opened his fangs, and bit directly towards Naruto Uzumaki. Roar! Naruto Uzumaki roared, and the nine-tailed Zakla had covered his whole body, and he turned into a small nine-tailed, only one-tailed little nine-tailed. In his mouth, a dark black yin and yang chakra gathered together, forming a small ball. Tailed beast Jade. Dried persimmon Ghost Shark's mouth corners VV upturned. "I can still use this kind of ninjutsu, hee hee." Boom! The water shark was wiped away in an instant, and the tailed beast Jade was projected in front of the dried persimmon ghost shark, and a large package suddenly occurred. The aftermath of the explosion even involved Uchiha Itachi. His hat was blown away, revealing the young face underneath. Don't waste your time, take him, it will anger Konoha. Uchiha Itachi said indifferently. Even so, but let him make trouble, there is no way to retreat. As soon as the voice fell, his eyes quickly turned into a kaleidoscope, and the next moment, his eyes condensed, and his pupil power instantly passed. Amaterasu. However, at this moment, above the sky, Ains Ergen chuckled lightly. Do you want to withdraw? You should feel someone nearby because of my gaze. He guessed softly and smiled again. However, it would be boring to let you retreat so easily. Between the words, from his mouth, a white light flashed, and it quickly turned into the appearance of Juya. Juya grinned Isho and said, at this time, Juya's strength is needed. He made seals on his hands and sighed in a low voice, the clothes of the demon fox transfer technique. Whoosh, is greater than or equal to. I saw Juya's body, a pure chakra, suddenly thrown out. The nine-tailed chakra falling from the sky, like a meteor, immediately caught the attention of Uchiha Itachi. He was startled inwardly. Sure enough, someone is nearby, and I have noticed a faint gaze from just now. Who is it? Before he could find his target, this nine-tailed chakra had already fallen on Sasuke Uchiha. In an instant, the manic nine-tailed chakra invaded Sasuke Uchiha's body, healed his body wounds, and formed a robe of a demon fox outside his body. Sasuke Uchiha's heart suddenly accelerated, blood was flowing at high speed all over his body, and a huge chakra charged 160 all over his body. Itachi. He lost his mind and could only have dark thoughts of revenge. At this moment, he roared word by word, and on his right hand, a sword of lightning appeared again. Kill you. Murmur from hell, Sasuke Uchiha moved and rushed out with a bang. Seeing this, Uchiha Itachi's expression flickered. Tailed beast. How could it be possible? The Uchiha family has never been a human pillar, how could it be a tail beast? That power just now made Sasuke suddenly possess nine-tailed chakra. Not only is it a matter of tailed beast transformation, but it is also quite stable, and it is completely different from the rambunctious Manzuli over there. Speed, defense, chakra. Uchiha Sasuke's overall strength has doubled under the power of the clothes of the demon fox, and he has easily reached the level of Jonin. Thunder sword. There was no time for him to think. Uchiha Sasuke slashed with a sword. In an instant, the thunder light was loud, the sky darkened, and the rain continued. This sword slashed out, immediately extending dozens of meters, crossing the distance between each other, and slashing straight towards Uchiha Itachi. How fast is the thunder? Almost the speed of light. Uchiha Itachi widened his eyes and was split in half by a sword. This power. Sasuke Uchiha looks crazy, and he is beginning to evolve. Chapter 0815-Chidori Thunder Sword. Nine-tailed chakra itself is evil and full of evil thoughts, and Sasuke himself has a strong desire for revenge. The two hit it off and directly maintain the current situation. The weak suddenly gained power far beyond their own, and easily became the slave of power. Hundreds of meters in the sky, Juya couldn't help laughing. It's really great material, stimulated by the nine-tailed chakra, coupled with facing Uchiha Itachi. After the war, maybe you can open the Sengo Jade, distance from Rinnegan, one step further. Having said that, it is the most troublesome to get the 3-Go Jade to the kaleidoscope. In the original work, Uchiha Sasuke was able to open the kaleidoscope because Uchiha Itachi told part of the truth about the genocide and died in front of him at the same time, which opened the kaleidoscope. Now Uchiha Itachi is aware of the changes happening around Sasuke, and it is estimated that he does not want to die easily, and then he has to think of a routine. At the same time, the battlefield below. Uchiha Itachi, who was split in half by Thunder Sword, suddenly turned into a crow flying in the sky. Sasuke Uchiha's face was startled, and then it was extremely ugly. Illusion. What happened to you? Uchiha Itachi's voice came, and then, dozens of black crows quickly gathered and turned into Uchiha Itachi again. It's just that at this moment Uchiha Itachi, half of his body is floating in the air, staring with scarlet blood wheel eyes. Damn! Uchiha Sasuke was very annoyed, and in a flash, he flew out, and the phantom was cut off with a sword. Still in illusion solution. Normally, with his own strength, he cannot break free from the illusion of the three-goose jade writing wheel eyes, but the existence of nine-tailed chakra made his strength soar, and he broke free from this illusion. Uchiha Itachi was still standing in the original place in his eyes, showing a little surprise. Phew. People in the dark, do you want to use you to kill me? Chakraxian, who can control the nine tails, is the one who released the nine tails. Uchiha Itachi said softly, and glanced at Naruto Uzumaki who was still running away. It seems that the nine tails in Hiroshima's body were indeed taken away, but only a part of the power was left. Just thinking about it, Uchiha Sasuke launched another attack. He swung the thunder sword and approached quickly. HMPH, I'm going to kill you. Stupid. Uchiha Itachi said lightly, his eyes narrowed, the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, and immediately locked on the other side. You do. Not to mention the slaughter between brothers. On the other hand, Kakashi is dealing with knot cutting. What's the matter? Naruto in their direction. There are several powerful breaths. It doesn't look like a helper who will not cut again. Kakashi stood in the thick fog and did not act rashly. HMPH, were you still concerned about the situation over there when you were playing with me? Kakashi, you are too arrogant. Voices came from four directions, and in the next moment, four figures rushed out in unison. Each of them is not to be cut again, and each of them is wielding a beheading sword. Kakashi was agile, dodging several slashes one after another. And at this moment, the fifth one appeared. He emerged from the puddle under Kakashi's feet, holding a large knife, and slammed it. You careless. With a sneer, Zabujan slashed from behind Kakashi. However, the next moment, his expression changed from Vivi. You. I saw Kakashi, who was slashed to death by his knife, turned into a pool of water with a puff. Impossible when. His eyes were sharp. Could it be that in this dense fog, he could also instantly copy my water separation technique? The fog was so thick that it was impossible to see beyond a meter. Zabujan suddenly raised his head, and sure enough he saw a black shadow descending from the sky. I'm sorry, if I don't cut it again, the situation is urgent and I don't have time to play with you. Chidori. Kakashi made a seal in the air, and his right hand was shaped like a claw. The lightning flashed on it, like 1,000 birds chirping in unison, making a pleasant sound. At the moment of falling, he grabbed it with one claw and did not cut it again. Damn. If he doesn't cut his face again, his face turns cold. He is the main body, not a clone, and it will be very uncomfortable when he is about to take a thunderbolt from the front. At the critical moment, he directly threw the beheading sword out. The rotating broadsword, like a huge shuriken, will cut off the falling Kakashi. Thunder sword. Kakashi calmly whispered in his mouth, like the ninjutsu of 1,000 birds singing in unison, which changed in an instant and turned into a sword of thunder. The blade extended rapidly, passed through the beheading sword in a flash, and stabbed into the left chest that would never be cut again. Puff! Immediately, the power of thunder and lightning paralyzed his body, and he groaned again, and blood splattered all over his body. Thumping, no longer kneeling on one knee, his face pale for a while. Yu ninjutsu. Muji ninjutsu, an advanced version of Chidori. Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief and secretly said in his heart, thanks to Sasuke's thunder sword that I copied before, otherwise there is really no way to solve him so quickly. I have to say, this trick works really well. The thunder sword extended in an instant, and the limit distance was about 30 meters. Although the power would drop rapidly, as long as it hit, it could instantly paralyze ordinary opponents. If you don't cut it, you can't think of such an operation. Go over quickly. Kakashi didn't have time to play with Zaibusion. He solved the opponent at this moment, turned around immediately, and walked in the direction of Naruto Uzumaki. Giggle, I didn't expect that I couldn't even force out your kaleidoscope. Zaibusion covered his chest, his face full of murderous intent. I didn't expect to use this, Kakashi. He shouted loudly, and suddenly took out a scroll from his chest. No, it's not a ninjutsu scroll, it's just made into the form of a scroll. No longer holding it in his hands, he shouted loudly, activate. In an instant, this scroll exuded a dazzling brilliance, and in the next moment, the whole body that was not slashed again shone with rays of light. Light wind. The power of steel wrists. Giant body. The three-stage magic enhancement. In an instant, the numbness of Zaibuzan disappeared, the wound was forcibly blocked, and the constitution increased sharply. Kakashi's steps abruptly stopped, and then he rolled forward without thinking about it. Boom. Without slashing again, he sneered, although I don't know what happened over there, but if you want to go there, you should beat me first. Healed. Kakashi was taken aback. It's not chakra, what kind of power is that? Quote. Unknown power strengthens Zaibuchu. At this moment, don't cut the quick seal, Feng Shui Un, great waterfall technique. Boom boom boom. Above the earth, a huge wave was set off out of thin air, flooded, and swept away towards Kakashi. Water escape water dragon ball technique. The next moment, another water dragon rushed out, roared, swept the huge waves, and swallowed Kakashi in one bite. This is the power of a Skullman. How does it feel, Kakashi? Chapter 0816_Kamui. Into the water. And GT. The skeleton man. Kakashi put his hands in front of his chest, resisting the invasion of the water dragon, and secretly said in his heart, suddenly regained the ability to move, that scroll can heal wounds. No, it seems that even the strength has increased a lot. Speed, strength, and physique all increased by one level at the same time. It's hard to deal with. Chidori. Kakashi's thoughts moved, and lightning flashed in his palm, breaking the water dragon at once, and the next moment, he jumped and rushed out of the water. I'm very interested in the skull man, you call it. He stood above the water and looked at not cutting again. The insight of Sharingan, which allows him to clearly see the reality of the other party, has indeed enhanced a lot. It's nothing to tell you. I don't know what kind of grievance he has with you, but not long ago, he suddenly came to the door and gave me a scroll to use it when necessary. Scroll, that's not ninjutsu. Kakashi said solemnly. Who knows? Without a cold snort, he raised the beheading sword and suddenly fell. Puff. The big knife slapped the surface of the water, and a big wave suddenly erupted. Immediately afterwards, a thick fog spread out, and the surrounding environment became foggy again. Water escape water blade slash. In the fog, no slashing quickly formed the seal, and in an instant, the water splashes caused by the slap of the big knife suddenly condensed into one after another water blade, suddenly cut through the fog, and shot towards Kakashi. However, all these actions were under Kakashi's gaze. The inside of the wheel eye is enough to penetrate the thick fog. Q. Water escape water blade slash. Almost at the same time, both sides used the same ninjutsu, and even the amount of chakra injected was exactly the same. The two ninjutsu collided in the air and then annihilated each other. Copy ninja, HMPH. A light hum came from all directions, and Zabujan was hiding in the thick fog and moving quickly. Suddenly, he appeared beside Kakashi, cut through the thick fog with a large knife, circled in the air, and slashed towards Kakashi's neck. In the face of this blow, Kakashi leaned back, the broadsword almost passed by his face, and avoided it. At the moment of dodging, the chidori in his right hand changed rapidly and immediately turned into a thunder sword. After avoiding the slash, he swept towards Sabuza. Dangerous ninjutsu. Zai-Bi-Yuzan hurriedly used the blade to resist and block the thunder sword, but the power of the lightning was still transmitted along the blade. However, with the magical enhancement, Zabuzhan completely endured it. At the same time, he did not cut off his left hand and put his fingers together again, and drank in a low voice, the art of water escape. In an instant, a stream of water emerged from behind Kakashi. At the moment of appearance, this water body immediately slapped it out with a palm. Water escape water prison technique. It's heavy. Kakashi's face was solemn, and he clearly felt that the lake under his feet was extremely heavy, like a swamp, and quickly formed a sphere, trapping him inside. The speed of this guy's use of ninjutsu has been doubled compared to just now. If it wasn't for the writing wheel, I wouldn't even be able to see clearly. Kakashi knew that he was careless. After the opponent was strengthened, his abilities suddenly increased sharply. He was still fighting with the previous attitude, and he immediately suffered a loss. Being trapped in a water prison, it's over, Kakashi. Kai. Without cutting his eyes with indifference, like a killer staring at his prey, he raised his beheading sword and slashed towards Kakashi. At this moment, Kakashi's left eye three-hook jade suddenly turned rapidly, and the pattern changed rapidly. Divine might. Space warping. At the focal point of his gaze, the space is like a vortex, rapidly distorting. If he didn't cut off his right hand holding the knife, he was immediately involved, and his bones, skin, and blood seemed to be torn apart. What is this? His face changed greatly again, and this twisted force seemed to have a suction force, and he couldn't break free. And this power is rapidly expanding, as if to tear him apart. At a critical moment, he would not cut his teeth again, give up the beheading sword, and also give up his right hand. With a stab, he donated blood and slashed back quickly, frightened. At this time, the water prison that bound Kakashi was automatically broken. He took a stride and grabbed it with his right hand. Chidori. Puff. I saw a flash of thunder, and thousands of birds chirped in unison. Kakashi's right hand is like a sharp blade, piercing directly into the abdomen that will never be cut. Zai-Bi-Yuzan widened his eyes and said incredulously, just now space ninjutsu. Thousands of birds entered the abdomen, and thunder and lightning swallowed the whole body. The stamina of Zai-Bi-Yuzan was quickly drained, and even the magic enhancement effect was quickly weakened. With a plop, he fell into the water, and for a while, the surface of the water was dyed with a layer of red. Kakashi let out a long breath and pressed his forehead to block his left eye. Accidentally difficult to deal with. After strengthening, it was almost a different person, and it was almost finished. Kakashi shook his head, locked the direction of Naruto Uzumaki, and left quickly. At the same time, he felt a little fortunate in his heart. The last time Uchiha Itachi invaded Konoha, thanks to a Tsuki reading, he mastered the ninjutsu of the kaleidoscope, otherwise he would have been held back this time. When he thought of this, he couldn't help but think of what Uchiha Itachi said at the time. Is that real or fake? Lin. Damn. Zai-Bi-Yuzan first sank into the water, and after a while, floated on the water surface. He was still a little conscious, but he was close to falling into a coma. If he was in a coma, he would have lost too much blood and died. However, he couldn't move. After the strengthening effect disappeared, his body was extremely tired, and he was hit by Chidori, and he couldn't even move a finger. It's really ugly. Suddenly, a joke came. No longer raising his heavy eyelids, he saw a tall figure in a daze. I gave you strength, but you still can't beat it. I'm so disappointed. I won't cut it again. What are you doing here? Appreciate a killer's end. Ainzurgong said with a low smile, how does it feel? The feeling of death. HMPH cough. No longer annoyed, but affected the wound again, and immediately coughed again and again. Want to live, P. Ainzurgong looked down, like the monarch of hell, scrutinizing. Serve me, I will give you a new life. What? There was a momentary shake if not cut again. Not only does it allow you to live, but even the right hand you lost can be restored. There is even a stronger body to carry your soul. Ains Gong said indifferently, yes, or no. Yes. Bi Yuzan was silent for a long time, and finally opened his mouth. He remember my name, I am the king of the undead, Ains Ergen. Rise up the creation of high-level undead. Chapter 0817 Well-intentioned Uchiha Itachi. Projecting a mass hazy darkness. The magic power is poured into the body of Zabujan, and it begins to transform its life form. Its race, from human, to undead. Unlike the Lich King's summoning allies, Ains Ergen is a transformation. A corpse, or a dying person, is about the same, transforming it into an undead. The magic that Zabujan uses at this moment is not a low-level transformation, but a high-level transformation. No longer opened his eyes wide, full of shock. His dying body, in just a short moment, regained its vitality. However, this vitality does not symbolize the living, but the dead. His blood cooled, his heart beat slowly, and finally stopped completely, his skin turned pale, and at the same time, his lost right hand was growing back. This is no longer with a shocked face, my chakra attributes are also changing. You're dead, but you're still alive, so you should be able to get in touch with the yin attribute. Ains Gong said indifferently, now, even if you chop off your head, you will not die for a while. Perfect. This body, I feel several times stronger than the previous body. Without getting up from above the water again, he tried to move the newborn's arms, waved his fists, and set off a strong wind. Thinking of this, he immediately knelt down on one knee. You. Lord Ains. Yes, Ains-sama, I dare not be disrespectful again, thank you for giving me a new life. From today, I will be the sword in your hands. Now, you go and kill Cardo first, and then control his shipping company, so as to control the country of Waves X. Control the country of Waves. Bi Yuzan was stunned again. My mission this time is to kill Dasna, the master of bridges. I don't want to kill him. Once the bridge is built, the country of Waves will not be easy to control. It doesn't matter. You killed a Dasna, and others, it's just a bridge, there are ways to control a country. Need me to teach you? Ains Ergen's eyes flickered, glowing red. Yes. He didn't say anything more without beheading, and immediately put away the beheading sword and left. Wait. Ains-sama, what else is there to order? Collect all the ninjutsu scrolls you can. Understood. If he doesn't cut his head again, although he doesn't know why he does it, as a killer, he won't ask such a thing, as long as he does it. Watching him leave, Ains Ergen chuckled lightly. Orochimaru, Akatsuki, don't cut it, wait for a while, harvest a wave, you should be able to get more than 500 scrolls, enough to raise this phantom body to 5-star. At the same time, Kakashi ran Luffy and finally caught up with Naruto Uzumaki. It's just that Naruto Uzumaki at this moment is already a small nine-tailed, wrapped in red nine-tailed chakra, and was madly beaten by a brain dressed in a black robe with red clouds. Cut, it's really durable. No matter how much you fight, you can continue to live and dance. It's worthy of being the backbone of the Nine Tails. The dried persimmon ghost shark slapped Naruto Uzumaki again with a knife, and the continuous fighting made him a little speechless. He quickly noticed Kakashi, and Kakashi also noticed him. It's just that Kakashi didn't have time to pay attention to this guy, but looked to the other side, and Zillai also faced Xiaonan, in a deadlock queue. And GT. Sir Jiraiya. Kakashi, how is it over there? Seeing this, Jiraiya quickly retreated and joined Kakashi. It took a little time and it's resolved. But, what's the situation? Kakashi glanced at Sasuke Uchiha, the demon fox outside his body, fell at the feet of Uchiha Itachi. The power of the Nine Tails. He was a little sluggish, and Sasuke even had nine-tailed chakra on him. He looked at Jiraiya suspiciously. I don't know either. It's just that this form is very similar to a person I've seen. Ask Sasuke afterwards, maybe he knows something. Jiraiya is still calm, facing such a situation. He said decisively, don't worry about me, you go help Naruto, he will continue to transform into a tail beast, and he will die. Good. Saying that, Kakashi immediately walked towards the dried persimmon ghost shark. Jiraiya-sensei, why bother? We're just checking the situation. Xiaonan fluttered in midair, with a pair of paper wings growing out of his back, like an angel. Xiaonan, why are you like this? You are not the Xiaonan I know. Where are Yahiko and Nagato? Are they okay? Hearing this, Xiaonan kept calm and said in a cold tone, Teacher Zilai, I called you that for the last time. I hope you don't interfere with us, otherwise, even if it is you, I can only kill you. Oh, I haven't seen you for a while. Even Xiaonan, your tone has grown louder. Let me see how you have grown over the years. 9 flowers. Gangzilai also raised his eyebrows, made a seal with his hands, and finally opened his mouth and spit. Fire escape, big flame bomb. The other side. Sasuke Uchiha knelt on the ground, in a trance. The clothes of the demon fox around him are declining, and his consciousness is beginning to wake up from the darkness. No, it's impossible. Can't believe it. Uchiha Itachi said indifferently, as long as you are human, you rely on your own knowledge and understanding to live by being bound by it. This is the reality. One of your eyes is 3 go jade, and the other eye is no more than 2 go jade. It is still 10 years before the kaleidoscope contends. Quote. You. Sasuke Uchiha looked up and saw the big windmill blood wheel eye again. He had some heart palpitations. Looking at each other just now, his spirit fell into the monthly reading space, and he was tortured for 3 days, during which he died an unknown number of times. You're not worth killing, stupid brother. If you want to kill me, hate me, hate me. Then live ugly, keep running away, keep running away. Just live. Then, when you have the same eyes as me, come to me. Between the words, his eyes focused again. Susanoo. Boom. The orange chakra forms a huge samurai need, and on its right hand, holds a spirit sword. 10-fist sword. This sword was swung out and slashed on the top of Sasuke Uchiha's head, instantly absorbing and sealing the 9-tailed chakra on Sasuke's body. This kind of power, it's too wasteful to leave you. Uchiha Itachi said indifferently. Xiaonan, Ghost Shark, the goal has been achieved, withdraw. 9-tailed chakra, and this one, as expected of Itachi. The dried persimmon shark was forced back by Kakashi, and immediately took the knife and made a seal at a high speed. It's a pity that I didn't get to see your writing wheel eye, but I'll talk about it next time. Water escape blast water wave. Puff. The dried persimmon ghost shark opened its mouth and spit, and suddenly spewed out hundreds of millions of tons of water. It covers a wide area, almost submerging hundreds of meters in radius, forming a large lake. Whisper. There was a light rain in the sky, but the 3 of Xiaoji disappeared. Above the sky, Juya pouted. Sure enough, a tail-level demon fox robe is still not good for Uchiha Itachi. However, before leaving, this power must be sealed and not left to Sasuke. This guy, he really well-intentioned. Chapter 0818-Konoha Crash Plan. It is precisely because of this that before leaving, Yu wants to encapsulate the power of the demon fox's clothes into the 10-fist sword. Losing this power, Sasuke Uchiha also quickly fell into a state of exhaustion. His body was exhausted, and he was mentally exhausted. He fell to the ground with a plop, and completely fainted. Run away. Jiraiya also frowned. Uchiha Itachi, Xiaonan, and the other one should be a dried persimmon shark. Each of them has a shadow, or as close to that of a shadow. It's really tricky. Lord Jiraiya, Naruto. Kakashi glanced at the situation behind him. Naruto Uzumaki was still running wild. Seeing this, Jiraiya immediately said, Kakashi, cooperate with me, I will reseal the power of the 9 tails. Yes. The two were busy for a while, and finally subdued Naruto Uzumaki. After all, Uzumaki Naruto's tailed beast transformation is only the level of a tail, which can be hung up and beaten by a dried persimmon ghost, of course not Jiraiya and Kakashi's opponent. It's strange, why does Naruto still have a 9-tailed power remaining in his body, and why would he go berserk at such a time? Jiraiya fell into deep thought. Kakashi, do you have any clues? I don't know. Wake up and ask Naruto himself. Kakashi-sensei. At this time, Haruno Sakura, who had been frightened, finally ran over. She hurried to Sasuke's side and said nervously, Sasuke. Kakashi-sensei, what's wrong with Sasuke? He is overexhausted and will wake up after resting for a while. Kakashi smiled wryly. Obviously Naruto Uzumaki was injured more seriously. Sasuke's problem was more of exhaustion, not necessarily much. Thinking of this, Kakashi sighed. I didn't expect a first-level mission, so dangerous, it was almost wiped out here. Fortunately, those 3 people were just looking for information. Lord Jiraiya, I want to suspend the mission, it's too dangerous to go on like this, I don't know if the other party will come back. No, don't worry, I'll be with you. Jiraiya also said solemnly. Now, let Sasuke and Naruto have a good rest, and when they wake up, let's ask about the details. Daz, who had been silent, said, if you don't mind come to my house. Yinan Village, a dark and damp underground base. In a large, empty room, more than a dozen experimental subjects were yelling wildly. And kill me, Orochimaru. Some people grabbed their necks and wanted to strangle themselves to death. Square root. Orochimaru, you must die. I curse you. There are also people who are crazy to move the grudge. And at this moment, on the stairs, Orochimaru watched all this quietly. Beside him, a young man with silver hair and eyes shook his head. Sir Orochimaru, these experimental subjects are not good enough. Sure enough, the power of the curse mark is still not good for these ordinary ninjas. Shall I give them a treat? No. Orochimaru licked his lips and his pupils showed a strong interest. You don't understand. This time it's not a simple spell, there is also the power of blood of longevity. Do you think, these few a ninja who persisted for an hour, what level of curse did he receive? Earth. Heaven. Orochimaru said in a tone of surprise to himself, the curse of the sky. According to the previous experiments, these people are already dead, but if they can persist until now, even if they are crazy and want to commit suicide, it will not work. Look at that person, his skin is crystal clear and his vitality is strong, although under the power of the curse mark, this vitality is rapidly declining. As the effect of the blood of longevity. The pharmacist was also curious. Unexpectedly, a mere trace of blood can actually resist the power of the curse. If I can get more blood, I can develop a spell on the spell of the sky. The power of this blood is terrible. Orochimaru's eyes flickered, and then he asked, how is Junmaru's condition? It's much better, but the blood disease has not been eliminated. Half-pipe longevity blood is not enough at all. The pharmacist recovered. Really? Orochimaru hesitated for a moment, and then said with a low smile, counting the time, it's almost time to start. After a pause, he turned and left the secret cell. You go back to Konoha, bring your red copper armor and Jien Maikung, and prepare to take the Chunin exam. Yes. Not long after, Orochimaru came to another secret room. There was a man lying on the bed, it was Junmaro. After a little observation, Orochimaru immediately took out a black card. After a little hesitation, he directly crushed the card. Puff! The cards scattered into a black fog, and the black fog swirled around, gradually turning into human figures. Orochimaru. A low voice came, and then the black mist completely condensed into a human form. This man was extremely terrifying. He was completely composed of black smoke. What kind of ninjutsu is this? King Orochi was surprised. Is it similar to Ketsuji Ninjutsu, like the magic body art? You can think so, the shadow demon said calmly. Wait for me this time. Are you ready for the second transaction? Before the deal, who were you? Orochimaru asked rhetorically. I'm one of the Phantom members. You can call me Shadow. Ying is really an arrogant name. Orochimaru gave a strange laugh, then glanced at the unconscious Junmalu. I ask you, how much blood of immortality does it take to cure this child? It can't be cured. Shueiji disease is a genetic problem, unless you modify his genes. Of course, if you so-called cure, it is only to allow him to restore his peak combat power and not die of illness. This is very simple, 3 tubes of immortal blood are enough. Ying Yao said lightly. Of course, 3.9 counts as cured. As time goes by, his disease will still recur. 3 tubes, what do you need? Orochimaru's eyes flashed, somewhat surprised. 300 non-repeating ninjutsu scrolls. Hey haha, I'm more and more interested in you guys. Orochimaru snorted and stuck out his long tongue. To master this technique, you only need a scroll, although I don't know what you guys want to do, but no problem. However, I have a suggestion. Oh. I have a plan here. I wonder if you are interested. Orochimaru snorted. If the plan is successful, let alone 300 copies, even 500 scrolls are fine. Are you planning? Shadow Demon estimated that it should be that plan. Sure enough, Orochimaru continued. The Konoha Collapse Plan. Chapter 0819-Chunin Exam. Dream of Surgery. NGT. However, the research process is a bit dark, and human experiments are endless. Later discovered by the 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi, Orochimaru had to defect to Konoha. Of course, the grievances between the 2 masters and apprentices are not so simple. Seeing the Shadow Demon was a little interested, Orochimaru struck while the iron was hot, and said, it's interesting to see things that move, and boring to see things that don't move. A windmill that doesn't spin is not worth appreciating at all. However, sometimes I also feel that things that don't move have a different flavor, he. Wenqing is a disease that needs to be cured. The Shadow Demon commented silently in his heart. He can still understand the meaning of these messed up words. It's like the big boss said. The world has been peaceful for too long, and it's time to be lively. This feeling. All in all, Orochimaru said again, I now want to use the gust of destroy Konoha to turn the windmill. Do you want to start a ninja war? Shadow Demon chuckled softly. Boring. Aren't you interested? Destroying Konoha, by the way, can control Sand Ninja Village, the power of the 2 ninja villages, and the ninjutsu scrolls that can be collected are more than 300,500. A little interested. Shadow Demon perfunctory. So, how about we join forces? You can have as many scrolls as you want. Orochimaru bewitched. Of course, on the one hand, for the sake of a sound plan, this organization has shown a very terrifying power, and on the other hand, I also want to test the reality of this phantom organization. This has to be reported to Lord Qin, but even if Lord Qin agrees, I will only send 1 member to participate in this kind of petty trouble. The Shadow Demon neither agreed nor refused. Anyway, there is still some time before the plan actually starts, so let's hang on to it first. However, seriously, this plan is still very useful for him to collect scrolls. How many ninjutsu are there in the whole ninja world? No one knows the specifics. But Kakashi has mastered thousands of ninjutsu by copying the wheel eye. Thinking of this, the Shadow Demon immediately said, You summoned me this time because you want the blood of immortality. Junmalu should be a necessary force in your plan. In this case, these 3 blood of immortality, I can give it to you in advance. Quote. Saying that, the Shadow Demon grabbed the void, directly toward the space, took out 3 tubes of true dragon blood from the Shadow World, and threw them to Orochimaru. This is your reward in advance. After the Konoha collapse plan is over, you need to deliver 400 scrolls. 100 more. Wei. Interest. Pen. Hee no problem. Orochimaru greedily looked at the blood of immortality in his hand and couldn't help but ask. I am curious, what kind of creature's blood is this? Isn't it human? This kind of vitality is more active than the cells in the Chinchujujian. You're not qualified to know yet. Shadow Demon said disdainfully. Then, I hope your plan can be successful. See you again. As soon as the voice fell, his body slammed into a cloud of black smoke. Immediately afterwards, the black smoke quickly condensed into a card and fell back into Orochimaru's palm. Interesting ninjutsu. I don't know where the main body is, but it can come directly in front of me through this kind of card. However, this card may also have a positioning function, then you have to be careful. Orochimaru put away the things, looked at Junmalu again and said, first cure Junmalu, then go and kill Kazekage. 2 weeks passed in a flash. Country of Waves. Although Jiraiya and others took precautions, there were no more problems with this mission. Even Cardo disappeared, and it seems that the construction of the bridge is no longer organized. In half a month, the unfinished bridge was completely completed, and Kakashi's 7th class sea-level task was truly completed. Lord Jiraiya, let's go back to the village, how about you? I will escort you all the way back, but I will look for traces later. In the near future, don't let Naruto go out. July also looked back at the 3 little devils. Pack up, let's go. Naruto. What's the matter, lecherous fairy? Want to learn a ninjutsu? I can teach you. Jiraiya grinned Isho and said, very powerful ninjutsu. Hearing this, Uzumaki Naruto's eyes lit up and he said excitedly, what ninjutsu, what ninjutsu? Even Sasuke Uchiha cast curious glances. The group left the country of waves and returned the same way. On the way, Jiraiya also demonstrated new ninjutsu. Spiral Pill. Unfortunately, even if Naruto didn't make trouble with the 9-tailed chakra, he would be bumpy in learning, and it seems that he was naturally slow to control chakra. It is a bit difficult to handle the ninjutsu that requires fine control such as Spiral Pill. Sasuke Uchiha was shocked, this ninjutsu that man can do it too. Besides, he is stronger than the one in front of him. He touched his eyes, and said to himself, one of my eyes is already 3 Go Jade, and I have another 2 Go Jade. With a little more effort, I can achieve double-eyed 3 Go Jade. But Itachi, those eyes are written in a kaleidoscope. Lunyan, it seems that I have to go back and ask that mysterious man. Sean. Speechless all the way. The next day, the group returned to Konoha village. As expected, Jiraiya left, to find his 3 apprentices, and to inquire about Akatsuki's information. And Kakashi disbanded the 7th class, and he went to the Hokage building to make a mission report. Sasuke. Entrance of the village, Naruto was 400 feet guarding his forehead, and shouted full of fighting intent, duel with me. Idiot. Sasuke Uchiha glanced at him and said, you haven't even mastered the spiral pills and the changes in nature. In the past 2 weeks, you have only practiced treading water and climbing trees. Compared with the basics, you said that a little bit of eyesight is more important to the enemy. Judgment of strength and weakness. After speaking, he was too lazy to pay attention to the other party, and was going to go home to find Shinyoung. He's so handsome. Haruno Sakura looked like a nympho, while thinking helplessly, the relationship between the two has suddenly become so bad. What are you talking about? You're an idiot. Naruto made a fuss and was indignant. He looked down at the water polo in his hand, gritted his teeth and said, when I learn the spiral pill, you must play with me. He couldn't learn spiral pills, and Zilai also asked him to start practicing with water polo first, and it didn't improve much all day yesterday. Where's the kid? Don't get in the way. Suddenly, a voice came, Uzumaki Naruto was hit by something, and fell forward to eat a dog. Sasuke Uchiha suddenly turned his head and frowned at the 2 people walking outside the village. A little older than them, the forehead guard on his head is not Konoha's Huji. Sand Ninja. At the same time, the Hokage building. A kind of Junin gathering, Hokage Sarutobi Hibiki took a puff and said, "This year, we are going to hold the Chunin exam jointly with the Sand Ninja Village, so please prepare yourself." P. Chapter 0820 Your Ancestors. It is like a ghost painting, wearing a black cloak. Another girl with short blonde hair in a braid. The forehead guards on the foreheads of the two are all Huji of Sand Ninja Village. "That fat man, what are you doing?" Uzumaki Naruto shouted. "Konoha's ninja." Kankuro thought to himself, his mouth dismissive, "Don't get in the way, kid. You're an eyesore, you know." "What, you bastard." Naruto Uzumaki was very upset. Sasuke refused to duel just now, and now another inexplicable person appeared. Immediately, he waved his fist and charged towards Kankuro. HMPH. Seeing this, Kankuro's eyes flashed a hint of mockery, his right hand hanging on his side, and his 5 fingers moved lightly. The next moment, Naruto Uzumaki, who was calling towards him, seemed to have tripped over something, and fell directly to the ground. "It's so weak, isn't it? Konoha's ninja is this level." Kankuro sneered. "Just go home and drink milk." "Bastard." Uzumaki Naruto gritted his teeth, he didn't understand at all how he fell flat. Sasuke Uchiha, Vivi frowned. Just now, the chakras thread this guy is a ninja from Sand Ninja Village. Haruno Sakura hurriedly said, "Wait. You are Sand Ninjas, even if the country of wind and our country of fire are allied, ninjas from other countries can't invade at will without permission. What's your purpose? If you don't say it, I'm going to notify the ninjas in the village." You guys are obviously stubborn, but you don't know." The blonde girl on the side said in surprise. Her name is Tamari, Kankuro's sister. Q. Chunin exam. She took out a permit and said, "We are here to take the Chunin exam." Exam. Haruno Sakura was stunned. "You really don't know anything. The so-called Chunin selection test is a selection test for Sand Ninja Village, Konoha Village, and the neighboring small countries, for Chunin aspiring to become Chunin." Seemingly expecting what the other party would ask, Tamari continued, "Want to ask why there are ninjas from other countries? It's very simple. Demonstrate with each other, and show the strength of each country in the exam. By passing the exam, you can become a Chunin." Sasuke Uchiha's eyes flashed. "So handsome." Tamari glanced at him in surprise and said, "Of course, everyone is here for this." When he heard the words, Sasuke Uchiha turned around immediately and didn't bother to say a word. Since he can become a Chunin, he has to prepare well. Rather than entangle with this group of people, he wants to see Chinyang more. "This guy is not weak," Tamari whispered. "He and LT and GT." Kankuro snorted softly, "It's better than this rubbish, and Konoha's shinobi isn't all rubbish." Uchiha's house, a roof. Chinyang lay on it, basking in the sun leisurely. The progress of the 3 major legions in conquering the 3 worlds is relatively smooth, and there is no problem with Hokage here. After that, I have to find a time to solve One Punch Man, by the way. He chuckled lightly. The world of Naruto, Madara Uchiha, Itachi Uchiha, and 9-tailed demon fox. These 3 phantoms have to find a way to raise them to 6-star level, and then use Phantom Crystal to raise them to 7-star level. At that time, the main body will be able to reach 8 stars. Quote. "There are a lot of things to do, but I can't be in a hurry." According to the original, it will take at least 3 years for Sasuke Uchiha to reach the Eternal Kaleidoscope. Chinyang didn't have time to waste here, but fortunately he had to advance the Ninja World War, and Orochimaru's Konoha collapse plan was very much to his taste. By the way, help him and let Konoha weaken further. At that time, the other 4 major countries will not be able to bear it. Just as he was thinking about it, Chinyang suddenly let out a small yawn, and immediately stood up and looked at the corner not far away. It was found. Hinata was taken aback, and turned around quickly like a frightened rabbit. However, just as she turned around, she saw Chinyang, who was on the roof, suddenly appear behind her. "Ah! Little girl, we meet again." Chin-young said with a low smile, "Are you peeping at me with white eyes?" Hinata shook her head again and again. When she looked at Chin-young with her white eyes, she saw nothing but nothing at all. This is the first time she has encountered this situation, and Hinata has been curious since the last time she happened across it. "Today, I just passed by here and found someone on the roof, so I took a look. It's just that he never expected to be discovered by the other party at a glance. She is a child who is easily shy, lacks self-confidence, and dares not even look at Chin-young." White-eyed princess, Chin-young, Vivi Isho, said, "Are you so afraid of me?" Hinata was very timid, lowered his head, and seemed to want to bypass Chin-young and leave. But how could Chin-young let her leave? He immediately reached out and stopped the other party. "Sean, don't be afraid, I don't do anything to you. Let me go over." "In the past, where are you going?" Another moment of silence. Chin-young teased, "Stop teasing you. Don't come and spy on me, I'll forgive you this time." As if feeling that Chin-young didn't have much malicious intent, Hinata raised his head slightly, glanced up, and then whispered, "You're not from the village, why are you here?" "The Uchiha clan." "Yes, the Uchiha family." As if remembering something, Chin-young's eyes suddenly lit up. The next moment, his eyes flashed and quickly turned into 3 goose jade writing wheel eyes. "Yes, I am from the Uchiha family. Please forget what happened to me, otherwise, I will be angry, and when I am angry, terrible things will happen." Hinata nodded quickly. "Tisk, let me plant a little strength for you." Chin-young stretched out his hand and pointed at the other's eyebrow. Hinata only felt that she had returned to her mother's arms, and her body was warm, and then she fell into a deep sleep. "Holy will." Chin-young chuckled, waved his hand, scrolled the space, and moved the other party to another place. "The Archangel has one more believer. I hope it will be useful in the future." Shaking his head, he turned back to Uchiha's house. "As soon as I entered the door, I saw Sasuke Uchiha. Chin, I want to learn more powerful ninjutsu." Quote. Sasuke Uchiha said with a serious face, "Please teach me your eyes. 3-hook jade writing wheel eye." Chin-young was stunned, then remembered that he forgot to take it back, and immediately said, "I was discovered by you, but it doesn't matter, you were right, I am the Uchiha family and your ancestor."